Welcome in today. Glad you're with us. Bill Michaels Show. On a Tuesday, a cut-down Tuesday, as the Green Bay Packers making their cuts, the NFL doing the same all throughout the league. And some of the cuts that have already taken place, we're going to have to keep you up to date on it because it's probably going to be the one thing about today, it's not this mass cut where everybody's just basically told it once. Matt LaFleur, very much out of a page of the Aaron Rodgers "you should do it this way" playbook, is meeting with everybody individually, and one by one, guys are walking out the door. So it's a little different than just saying here's the mass cuts, but things are happening up at Lambeau Field inside the walls at 1265. Glad to have you on board today. Certainly appreciate it. The Brewers at least got a burst last night. Garrett Mitchell burst onto the scene last evening and drives the ball to the ballpark. There's been the much anticipated arrival of this young man, and he did his part last night. Crowd went crazy. It energized American Family Field. Brewers beat the Pirates 7-5 last night. They're still 6 games back in the division, 1.5 games back in the wild card, but at least there was life. Garrett Mitchell gets picked off, still beats the throw to second base, and then later on in the ball game, he goes yard. So there was some excitement there. Meanwhile, the Badgers getting ready for the game at Camp Randall coming up this weekend. A lot going on. Just to kind of run through this real quick, Juwan Winfrey, Alize Mack, Tyler Goodson, the running back, Dexter William, the running back, Danny Etling, the quarterback, Sal Cannella, by the way, the tight end, along with Mack, and then Juwan Winfrey, the wide receiver. All have been let go by the Green Bay Packers. Offensively speaking, we would assume with more cuts to come. Defensively, Jack Heflin, the defensive end, who many had thought that he would make this squad, did not. Kiel Byers the same way. Chris Slayton the same way. Keandre Thomas, Cabianento. Also, you've got Devontae Cross all gone. So as the numbers continue to mount for the Green Bay Packers, those are some of the cuts. Nothing overwhelmingly surprising yet. Heflin maybe was a little bit. Maybe Juwan Winfrey was a little bit. But we all know that they wanted to squeeze a few of these guys over to the practice squad, and most likely they're going to be able to do so. Ben, how did yesterday go, by the way?
Yesterday was good.
Yeah.
It was a very fast reacclimation for me back from vacation. And then we're immediately talking about the Friday debacle with the Brewers, but then their weekend. But no, it was good. A lot of preseason takeaway talk, which naturally goes to Jordan Love. And I don't know if you watched college football last weekend, but Grant and I spent some time reveling in the beauty of Nebraska's continuous failures.
Nebraska continues to fail. The only other thing when you talk about failures, let me get into this real quick, is that the Badgers now no longer, speaking of, I don't want to say failure because it's not a failure, you get hurt, but no longer do they have an experienced backup quarterback, which is a little bit disconcerting, I guess. Chase Wolf done for the season with a knee injury. How detrimental, should Graham Mertz go down, Ben? How detrimental is that?
Well, before the injury, if Mertz had gone down, they're already in a tough spot. Definitely the West kind of goes out of the question. I think now, if Mertz were to go down, team could be flirting with bowl eligibility, depending on where it is in the season. They're just, the drop-off at that position is more severe than anywhere else. And, I mean, really, I've more than I can remember in years prior.
At least he had some experience. But now they don't have anybody with experience when it comes to the backup position at quarterback for the Wisconsin Badgers. So Chase Wolf going down with an injury, and we'll talk more about that coming up as well. Also, it's very, very brief, and I was not going to be one of those, hey, by the way, I'm on the board of directors type of thing and get a lot of time, but I did sneak the pocket recorder into the Fisher House, Wisconsin golf outing yesterday, and we knew he was coming. We wanted to make sure that he actually had the ability to get there. But Brad Keselowski yesterday showed up at our golf. Did you see that, Ben, by any chance?
I saw your Facebook video.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask how you hit them, but more importantly, yes, I did see that.
I was bad. I'll be real honest. I sucked yesterday. I had a couple of shots that, we used, and, it's a scramble format. It was packed. We got, it was a deluge early on in the day. We were supposed to tee off at noon. And I don't think we got out on the course until about 1:30, 1:45, because of the rains that came through and the storms that came through, which gave everybody an opportunity to meet Brad Keselowski. Now, here's the thing. Keselowski finished up the race the night before and was supposed to jump on this plane. They have a private plane, obviously, for him, and it was down. It wasn't running properly. So he ends up going commercial and flies out and gets into town yesterday morning, like at 10 in the morning or something like that. And the RFK racing team was already there. They were waiting for him, part of Kohler Company and such. And then he finally got into town. He came right in and started meeting and greeting veterans and people that were there and the volunteers. And he met with the board of directors. And because he's got kind of this project in his hometown of Michigan, over in Michigan as well. So he ended up in Rochester Hills, Michigan, to be exact. But he ended up staying. He was supposed to only be there about 45 minutes. He stayed for like almost 3 hours. They brought a hood off of one of his cars. He autographed there in front of everybody some used race tires from the other day. He brought and autographed. But so you're going to hear real quick from Brad Keselowski. I will say this, hint, hint. I wasn't going to get much out of him regarding Road America in Chicago. That's all I'll say for now. Because I thought, I didn't want to get into the quote controversy that is, at least here in the state. But he had a lot of praise, high praise for Road America, and for the Chicago race. It was you'll hear it. You'll hear it coming up here in just a little bit. But Brad Keselowski came by. So yesterday we ended up at 6 under. Not that anybody cares, but we ended up at 6 under. I think the winning score was 14 under, but we finished 17 holes because regardless of how many holes you finished, you had to be off the course by 6:30 because they have it's a semi-private course down there, and they had leagues that they had to get to, and they only keep the staff around for so long for the dinner and such afterwards. So I think we got there about 7:45 in the morning, and by the time we got home, I guess I got home at about 10 o'clock, 10:30 last night, something like that. About 10 o'clock. It was probably a pretty good time. I got home about 10 o'clock last night. And so it was a long day, but it was worth it, and raised a lot of money. The course was both courses. There's 3 courses at Geneva National. We sold out 2 of them because that's all you can do. You can't cut a course off from the members. So we sold out both courses, and a huge day yesterday, a lot of money raised. I think just in the live auction alone, it was close to $9,000 in just 3 items, which was awesome. So it was a really good day yesterday, and thanks to everybody not only participated, but all the people that volunteered and all the people that gave time and all the people that gave things as well. And I'll talk about that coming up later on. So, but yesterday, good day overall. And today we now find out who is let go by the Packers. And then very shortly thereafter, we find out who the Packers really covet and want to bring back. The one thing I will say, and there's a lot of speculation about the wide receiver position and who they did like and they didn't like and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that I will say is I know that it came down to, Juwan Winfrey and would they cut him and yes or no. And then they started talking about some of the other guys that could possibly make it. And Dubs is going to be there, but will Danny Davis make it? And will he come back to the practice squad? And Davis was cut, but can they bring him back? Look, there's a lot of guys that are out there that every team has this 7th guy or 8th guy or 9th guy that they covet. And they think there's no way this guy's going to skate through waivers. And a lot of them do. So I'm not overly concerned about who will and will not end up on the practice squad. My biggest concern right now is who's going to be on the final 53. And then the big question mark at this point is, what about Mason Crosby? Because I think that's a legitimate discussion, because Mason Crosby has been rehabbing and trying to come back, as we all know, from the knee surgery. And it's interesting because whether or not he will or will not make it back and how long, we'll have to wait and see, albeit Rob Domofsky is saying that the kicker, Ramiz Ahmed, is in wait-and-see mode. No word yet on whether Mason Crosby's even going to come off the PUP list in time for the season. He would have to be activated today for him to come off the PUP list so he could start in the opener. If he does not, then the first 4 games of the season minimally are out. Ahmed made everything he looked at since he got here on August 14th. So he's kicked extremely well. But according to Rob Domofsky, right now, no word as of yet on the kicking situation in Green Bay as to whether or not Mason Crosby will or will not come off the PUP list. So we're waiting on that as well. Does the kicking game, considering that Ahmed has been so good in the preseason, Ben, does it concern you at all?
It does, maybe not even because of Ahmed's ability or lack thereof, just because of the process stuff that we talked about last season. Like the special teams as a whole, until I see it for 6 to 7 weeks, kind of like a Christian Yelich thing. Be great. I'm not going to be confident that it'll just, all be fine, whether it's Crosby or not.
Part of me is really pulling for Mason Crosby because I just want to see him, even if this is his last year, I want to see him redeem himself. I want to see him go out with a bang. I think that because he's been a lifelong Packer and here for so many years, I want to see him do well to say this, whether it's this year or next year, this is the way I wanted to go out. This is the way I wanted to end my career with the Green Bay Packers. However, if he's nowhere near 100% or not 100%, let's just say he's 80%. Ahmed has not looked bad. There is nothing wrong right now in keeping Ahmed for the next 4 weeks and seeing what he can do. But I will say this, let's just suppose that there are some complications or things aren't progressing as well for Mason Crosby, and Ahmed is perfect through the first 4 weeks of the season. It is going to be really hard to look him in the eye and go, yeah, we're going to cut you loose. He has done everything they've asked him to do in the preseason. He has done. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Mason Crosby's capable of coming back. Going to be really interesting to see. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We're going to come back, talk more about this as the Packers cuts continue along with the rest of the NFL today. A lot of cuts going on throughout the rest of the NFL. So we'll keep you up to date as if there's any surprises today. And Ben, you're going to have an update. You know what? Mike Clemens has his update at 50 of every hour. Maybe what we do is coming out of the break at the bottom of every hour, we take maybe a minute just to kind of roll through the cuts so we get people up to date the entire time. Because it's that kind of a big day, right?
That I can do.
There we go. I think we're going to do that. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. We are now in full press mode. If you did not know, and you've been living under a rock, our motorcycle ride is coming up on Sunday. We start from MKE Brewing. For everybody within the sound of my voice, yes, MKE Brewing and Bottle House 42, they're going to be open for us. Don't worry about it. Same as always, no problems. Just because MKE is getting sold and all that kind of stuff, don't worry about it. We're all good to go. So please come out and join us coming up this Sunday, September 4th. We will see you down there. But you need to get pre-registered. Only those who are pre-registered will be eligible for the prize packages that we're giving away, the ticket packages, whether it's to racing, to Brewers, to Bucks, to Badgers, got all of that. The only way to be a part of any of that is if you get pre-registered. Get pre-registered simply by going to FisherHouseWI.org. That is FisherHouseWI.org. And after that, click on the events page, scroll down. You'll see it right there. Can't miss it. Go get pre-registered. And we will see you on Sunday. This coming Sunday, September 4th, kickstands up at 11 a.m. And oh my God, what a beautiful day we've got in store. They are saying 72. It was like 73 to 77. I think it's cooling off a little bit. But they said 72 to 75 degrees and sunny. It's going to be perfect. So please come out and ride with us. And it's all brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, Potawatomi Hotel Casino, MKE Brewing, Growth Law, also our friends over there at Great Lakes Dragaway, Buzzard Billy's out in La Crosse, and Kane & Kane Jewelers up in West Bend. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others, time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
We're glad you're with us. One of our sponsors has been around a long time and worked with us for many, many years. That's our friends at Quick Trip. Don't forget, you still have a little bit of time left to play the Mountain Dew tab game. Win yourself some cash and prizes. Summer is not over by any stretch, but if you are going to do some fall tailgating, You want to head to the beer cave. You want to get some of the meats, the coals, all that kind of good stuff. Hot foods, cold foods, pizzas for the house. Whatever your needs, you can get it at Quick Trip. Use your Quick Rewards card when you're there because they're just such good people. And also a big Packer sponsor as well. That's our friends over there at Quick Trip. 877-867-1670. So we got some breaking news in the NFL in a couple of different facets. One is, if you didn't know, that Jimmy Garoppolo has restructured his contract. And what this does, it's not that suddenly the 49ers don't have any faith in him or in Trey Lance. But what this means is Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have a lot of takers. Nobody want to absorb the contract. Nobody want to absorb Garoppolo at this point. And even though he was free to go look for a deal, the 49ers finally restructured it. He gets $6 or $7 million, I think is what it is. And he's going to be Trey Lance's backup. But it buys him a couple more months. Should a backup quarterback or should a quarterback or two go down in the National Football League, they may come call it. Now, he does have a no-trade clause, but that does not mean that he will not be traded. It simply means there are certain teams that he can veto a trade to. If he doesn't want to go to that organization. But Jimmy Garoppolo has been restructured and re-signed by the San Francisco 49ers. In other news, so what's the breaking news out of New Orleans, Ben?
The Eagles first released two of their three candidates to start at safety this morning in Harris and Jaquiski Tart. They then traded with the New Orleans Saints for defensive back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a guy that had played a lot of corner, a lot of nickel, but also can play safety. He is 24 coming up on a new contract. He didn't want to get it from the Saints. The Eagles trade for him, and they have now really generated an impressive defense and an impressive secondary.
They're really kind of stacking the deck, and they're really hoping Jalen Hurts is able to be the real deal this year and come through because I think they really feel like it's they've got an opportunity. I mean, they're looking at it as nobody has been able to repeat in that NFC East, and so why not them? You know, why not them win the East this year? And I think they're kind of stacking the deck to go for it, don't you?
Oh, yeah. And they're also well positioned because they're not paying Hurts much. They're in that rookie contract for the quarterback deal where they can spend money elsewhere and then figure out if they need to pay him or need to go elsewhere going forward. They're in a good spot.
So the Eagles are doing some big things. The Saints making a deal. The Saints, they know that they don't have this triumphant ability to be able to win the division this year. So they're just kind of trying to scramble. And plus they're coming out of salary cap jail. They were $70 million over the cap going into the off season. So they've done a miraculous job just to get it down, but they've also cut away some of the fat. So we'll get into all of the cuts, by the way, coming up here in the bottom of the hour for the Green Bay Packers.
Also, very notably, do you remember when that Bears receiver punched the Saints cornerback in the head? Just completely unprovoked.
Yes.
During a Thursday night game a couple years ago. That's this guy. He is known as the biggest provoker in the NFL, if you will.
There you go. So the provoker is on his way to Philadelphia, which for that particular instance is fitting, right?
I can't argue with that statement.
So the Packers still making cuts and still trying to get down to the roster limit. They have made, I think, like 12 or 13 cuts. Juwan Winfrey is gone. Tight ends Mack and Canella gone. Danny Etling, the backup quarterback, has been cut loose. Tyler Goodson, Dexter Williams, both the running backs, cut loose. Jack Heflin, Byers as well. Slayton, not TJ Slayton, but Chris Slayton has also been cut loose. Ty Summers, the middle linebacker, who was so good on special teams for a few years. He has now been cut loose. Keandre Thomas, the corner, let go. Cabianento. You've also got Devontae Cross. So they got more than a few, but they still have some tougher cuts to come. And the reason, like I mentioned early on in the program today, is that they're trickling out is because Matt LaFleur is making the emphasis this year, taking a page out of the Aaron Rodgers, this is what you should do playbook, that they are speaking face-to-face, sit-down discussion with each and every guy. And Matt LaFleur wants to make sure that it's kind of like, you know, when you go through managerial school, so to speak, especially if you're running restaurants or something, they call it the table touch. You walk up, you literally put your fingers on, touch every table and say, hey, how you doing? What can I do for you? That kind of thing. And Matt LaFleur is doing it just the opposite. He is making sure that every guy gets a chance to meet with him, sit down and talk with him for a minute or two before they cut him loose. So it's the softer way of the NFL, rather than just getting a note saying, "Hey, coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook." Okay, hey, we're gonna have to let you go. Talk to you later. So, meanwhile, the Brewers 6 games back, 1.5 games out of the wild card. Nothing. I'll tell you this: over the weekend, the ERA for Josh Hader went up. What is so interesting to me about because the Josh Hader discussion became huge yesterday. What is so interesting to me, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but what is so interesting to me is that the Josh Hader he's throwing overhand. He's throwing more overhand now than he ever has. And Ben, have you noticed this?
Yeah, since he's gotten to San Diego.
It's like somebody in San Diego said, we might be able to fix some of your problems. Let's do this. He's throwing 97-mile-an-hour. It's not like he's got shoulder issues because his fastball is still up there. But he's throwing 97-mile-an-hour fastballs overhand with no break. Whoever changed him needs to change him back. I can't get over this. And his ERA now has ballooned to what, 24 or something like that?
It's 23.14 since he got to San Diego.
It's crazy. It's been just a bad move for San Diego.
He was lifted for a position player, to tell you enough about where he's at.
Right. He's only thrown, since he's gotten there, he's thrown 4 2/3 innings, 12 hits, 12 runs, a long ball, 7 walks, and only 8 strikeouts. That is so not Josh Hader. And he is throwing overhand. It's so weird. I don't. It's like you want to call him up and go, "Hey, Josh, go back to your old form, man." Unless he's got shoulder issues that it's sore and it's more comfortable to throw overhand than it is the kind of sidearm way that he throws the baseball. I don't get it. So either one, the Brewers saw. Now there's 3 different kind of scenarios here. One is the Brewers traded him because they saw something that was starting to erode. 2, they traded him for money. Or 3, he's got an injury. Or possibly 4, for his downfall, it was this year he has a new child. He had a wife that had some complications prior to the delivery of the child. They just have their newborn, and then he's uprooted out of Milwaukee and off to San Diego he goes, and right now it's just chaotic life. And it's really kind of sunk in to kind of Josh, that he's on the move, right? That type of thing. And it's crazy. So, but something is really, really affecting Josh Hader, man. Wow. It's uncanny how bad he has gotten. So just one of those things you kind of notice. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We'll come back. When we come back, we're going to start rolling through the cuts, rolling through some of the things going on throughout the NFL. Any big breaking news story, Ben's going to have it. So we got a lot left to go. Phone lines are open if you got any comments. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Find us over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, or at Ben Z Kenny. You can find us there. Track us down on the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. YouTube, great way to subscribe. You can find us there, simply youtube.com and Bill Michaels Show. Same on Twitch TV. And you can always find us on the Zone app out of Madison, WOZN, The Zone, Madison. Download the app, take us anywhere and everywhere. Find us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts. You can email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Got a lot coming up still left today. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next. Ready?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
from around the league and all of them for the Packers. First, I definitely paused on my drive in when I saw this. Danny Etling, third string quarterback, has been cut. Dexter Williams, Tyler Goodson, 2 running backs. Looks like Patrick Taylor in line for running back 3 role. As you mentioned, Juwan Winfrey, wide receiver, has been released. Maybe Samori Toure sneaks in there at wide receiver 7. The Packers also released Elise Mack and Sal Cannella, the tight ends, and Akil Byers, Jack Heflin, and Chris Slayton along the defensive line. Linebacker Ty Summers, Kabian Ento, Keandre Thomas in the secondary, and then Devontae Cross, the safety. Kylan Hill is on the PUP. To me, at least, Etling, Goodson, Winfrey are the big ones to note, as well as maybe Heflin and Slayton. In terms of around the NFL, I mentioned the Anthony Harris and Jaquiski Tart in Philadelphia, the 2 safeties. They traded with the Saints for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The Colts, much to my dismay, released Jack Cohn yesterday. They kept Sam Ehlinger. I know, it was a tough one. The Colts also released Philip Lindsay, running back, former Bronco. The Kansas City Chiefs, in notable moves, have released defensive lineman Danny Shelton and Josh Gordon, the wide receiver, who was looking for a 3rd chance or maybe 4th with that team. To the Bills, they released O.J. Howard, the tight end from Alabama, formerly with the Bucks, and running back Duke Johnson, the vet. The Bears released wide receiver Daz Newsome. Okay. The Buccaneers, I think this is the most surprising one I've seen. Wide receiver Tyler Johnson, former Golden Gopher, one of the only young wide receivers they have on that team. He was released. And the final 2, the Browns released quarterback Josh Rosen, former top 5 pick. And the Bengals, I'm only saying this because it could be important for the Packers, released the long snapper Cal Adamitis.
Cal Adamitis. I don't think the remember last year they had process issues as well, we'll say, and I don't think that's going to affect the Packers too much. I think they're okay as it sits now, but you never know because the Packers were not happy early on, and Coco was the guy that was kind of left standing by default, not necessarily by earning the job, we'll say. So we'll see if the Packers decide to dip into the free agent market and go for that long snapper. It's funny because the first thing you do as you hear these cuts, if you probably go through your fantasy roster to see if anybody you drafted last week has been cut. You know what I mean? So you start rolling through that to see if any of those back end cuts or any of the more significant names are let go. But that's where we stand right now in the NFL. So we'll see. 877-867-1670. And this is from Alec, who says, what about Mason Crosby? And we just talked about that a little bit earlier. Look, since he came to the team, Ahmed has been perfect and hasn't missed anything. So through the weeks of training camp and such, and obviously the preseason games, you wait and see if Mason Crosby's capable of coming off the PUP list, but they have until today to make that known. So today, I think it's 3:00, I think, is they have to get everything set. By the way, did you see I don't know if you mentioned this. Did you see Mike Garofalo said the wide receiver Devon Allen from the Eagles? He is, he is. And then the reason the Olympic hurdler, remember, he's got wheels and leapability, and he's an Olympic hurdler. And they say
he hasn't played football in 3 years.
Yeah, he's been running and perfecting the ability to go run in the Olympics. So that's the only reason it's more of note than anything. But he has been cut loose. So see if he makes it all the way around to the practice squad. But again, he hasn't played football in 3 years. He's been training for the Olympics, and now he's back into football. So some of the more notable cuts today. 877-867-1670. Ryan says, was listening to the Royals feed versus the Padres on Sunday during Hader's latest meltdown. They were perplexed at his downfall. One of the guys said, yeah, I think the Brewers knew something, LOL. I don't know if the Brewers knew something. That's what's so confounding about this was he just started to kind of regroup and look good again when they traded him, which is why I don't know necessarily that I would say, oh, they saw an injury or they saw something coming. I think, and there's no way to prove this, so I can say whatever. I think the fact that he's had a scattered season, he had a wife who had complications with their child's birth, then their child was born. Right after that, he had a little bit of a struggle, and then he straightened it out just after the All-Star break, coming out of the All-Star break. He really started to straighten it out. And once he did, then pretty much to everyone's surprise, he got traded. And I think not only do you have a wife who had some health issues, then a newborn, then you're about to make some money in arbitration, but the team that you are currently with, which you love and you love the city, they cut you loose and they trade you off, not only to another team, but to the West Coast. So then you got to uproot your family, uproot the newborn, uproot the wife, and then go get settled almost immediately and then go be better. And maybe, just maybe, and I still go back to that arm angle, maybe, just maybe, somebody said, yeah, I saw you had a few problems. Let's tweak this. And for whatever reason, he's throwing overhand now, instead of that side submarine thing that he was almost doing. It wasn't a true submarine. He wasn't like Kent Colby from years gone by, but he was more of a sidearm pitcher than he was an overhand pitcher. And now he's just he's throwing straight-laced BBs overhand. No break on his fastball. It's just coming in on a string. And guys know, don't swing at the breaking stuff. All you got to do is wait for the fastball because he's going to throw it. He's thrown more fastballs now than he ever has. He's going to throw it, and when he does, tee off. And that's what they're doing. So they're hitting him. So it is perplexing. I will say that, but there probably is some good reasoning behind that. Now, if it turns out that he's got a shoulder issue or an elbow inflammation and he's changed his stride because of the pain or something like that, something we didn't know, but maybe the Brewers did, well, then kudos to the Milwaukee Brewers. You didn't get a lot. Nothing's really panned out. But as far as the opposite end of the spectrum goes, it could be a lot worse. You could have Josh Hader, an injured or banged up or whatever you want to call it, Josh Hader, still throwing in the bullpen. But I don't know. I'm just taking a stab theoretically as to what I think, but I don't know. We'll give you some of the names to watch for that could possibly be on the bubble when it comes to the Green Bay Packers when we come back. Also, don't forget, coming up in the next hour, you'll hear a little bit. Didn't talk too long, maybe a minute or two, with Brad Keselowski, NASCAR driver yesterday. Had a chance to catch up with him for just a few. Really good guy, but very... I'll tell you this. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Stay tuned for that as well. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. If you are looking for hockey, I know hockey season is still a little ways off, but you can never get your season tickets too early. If you want to see some good hockey action, season tickets, group tickets, fun events, outings, it's all at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. And they are one of the best values, not just in town, but in the state of Wisconsin, especially for good quality hockey action and AHL hockey action. And hopefully they get a little bit deeper into the postseason and bring home a Calder Cup real soon. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held practice yesterday in helmets, shells, and shorts. Safety Darnell Savage was back after missing time since family night with a hamstring injury. Wide receiver Alan Lazard was out. Tight end Robert Tonyan continues to practice coming back from that torn ACL and was asked how the knee is coming along.
Just more and more every day feeling it. It's kind of nice. And honestly, I just kind of like implement it more and more day to day. Just I feel better every day, surprise myself all the time. So just continuing to make those strides and then, implementing contact is like the biggest thing right now.
So the Packers now face the Vikings in less than 2 weeks. Will Tonyan be able to play, or is it too soon to tell? Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I think it's a little early to say that right now. That was his first action in team periods. So we'll just see how he responds. And sounds like a broken record up here, but take it one day at a time.
It's quiet today around the facility with as many as 25 players being released to reach the deadline of 53. Does the head coach meet with each of the players on their way out?
Yeah, with every guy that gets released, I think it's only fair to them that I get a chance to speak with them. So that's how we operate, whether it's this time of the year or really any time of the year. You definitely want to thank them for all the hard work and the effort that they put in. And certainly it's an emotional time for these guys. You got a lot of respect for what they've done and the effort and the work they put in and the teammates they are. And you got a great locker room. So it's a tough situation to be in, but it is kind of the nature of the beast.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at New Mail Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin. Beyond the borders as well. And if you got it, you know what I'm talking about. Right? You would know. All you got to do is call. It takes you, when you go in, it takes maybe 15 minutes to get your numbers checked. You're good to go after that. They come up with a great solution, a plan for you. 98% success rate at treating guys with ED, by the way. 98%. Call them 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. That's the New Mel Medical Center. Give them a shout. Otherwise, for low T, the all-in-one weight loss program, they can do it all. They can do it all. So make sure you give them a call, 414-455-4451. Coming up in about 20 minutes from now, Zach Heilprin is going to join us. Going to give you a little bit of a Badger preview. Badgers without a true backup quarterback now, as they lost their backup, Chase Wolf, to a knee injury, who had knee surgery now. Saw a picture of him being wheeled out of the hospital. So he has had some knee surgery. His season is over with. And in the meantime, the Green Bay Packers continue to make cuts. By my math, I believe the Packers still need 12 more cuts to happen, if I'm kind of going through this correctly by the math that I have. Now, I've got this huge roster. I'm trying to cut it or count it on the fly. So sometimes math is not my strong suit, but my count goes, I think it's 12 more cuts have to be made by 3 o'clock today, and probably a couple of pretty tough ones along the way.
It's now 11.
It's now
by the
11.
way. Sean Davis, the backup safety who got injured, was released.
Sean Davis
11 more
now relieved. So there you go. So now they need 11 more cuts to happen. I kind of thought that. I was a little surprised that his name was announced after like Cabianento, to be honest, but I was just kind of waiting. I kind of figured that would happen, but you figure you're kind of paying attention to some of the names now, like, say, Abernathy. He's a guy that shined in the preseason, really kind of locked in. Whether or not we talked about Coco, the long snapper, does he get retained? Do they cut him loose? Do they go after somebody that's out on the market? We're waiting for Ahmed to find out whether or not Mason Crosby is going to be activated off of the PUP list. So you got some of those names that are out there. Typicalia right now, whether or not he ends up making this team. Patrick Taylor, you would assume. Torre, if they go with 7 wideouts on this team, you know that you got Lazard, Watkins, also Randall Cobb, Amari Rogers, Romeo Dubs. You know that Christian Watson. So, and then who else is going to be there, if anybody? So we'll wait and see. But interesting to see how this is all going to play out before it's all said and done. 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? Feel free to go ahead and do so. Let's get to the phone calls. Let's go to Daniel listening to us in Toma. Daniel, how you doing today, man? What's going on? Oh, Daniel. Just go to you. Click. Sorry for not getting to you a little bit sooner. Tried to. This one's from Kyle, who says, give me your thoughts on Danny Davis. Would they bring him back even though they cut him a couple of weeks ago? I would assume not. Never say never. But I would assume not. I think right now you're probably looking at Samori Torre. Whether or not he will or will not make this squad. Juwan Winfrey has been cut loose. Winfrey's probably going to be the guy to make it back to, if indeed he doesn't get picked up by somebody, but he's probably going to be the guy to make it back to the practice squad. So when Juwan Winfrey was cut loose today, I'm sure Torre maybe was breathing just a bit easier. Just a bit. Doesn't mean he's in, but maybe just a bit easier. So I'm sure he's just kind of waiting to see if, hey, coach wants you to bring your playbook, which they don't have a playbook anymore. It's usually bring your tablet, but you get it. This is from Jen. Jen says, hey, unit, how many more? Well, we just answered that, Jennifer. They have to get down to, I think it's 11 more players that have to go. 11 more. So thanks for the email. And this from Theo. Theo says, hey, unit, great cause coming up on Sunday. Looking forward to ride with you guys. When will they then activate all the guys to the practice squad? Well, they get signed. They don't necessarily get activated. You get activated from the practice squad to just technically to be correct. But I just wanted to make sure we got our nomenclature down. But by tomorrow, they'll have pretty much all of their practice squad set. Because you wait to see who does and doesn't get claimed, what deals go down, and then your practice squad gets set up after that. So I'm assuming by this time tomorrow or tomorrow afternoon, you're pretty much going to have your practice squad all ready to go. There you go. Hey, coming up in about 20 minutes, going to get a Badger preview. Zach Heilprin, part of the Kenny and Heilprin expanded coverage. We'll get into that after the top of the hour as well. Get into that to the top of the hour. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Down 5-3, rookie Garrett Mitchell would step up to the plate in the 8th inning and drill a 2-run shot to tie the game at 5 apiece. And then it was Keston Hiura's turn in the 9th inning as he would have a walk-off win to see the Brewers beat the Pirates at American Family Field 7-5. The Brewers still sit 6 games behind the Cardinals for first place in the NL Central and a game and a half behind the Padres for the final wild card spot. Brewers and Pirates back at it tonight. First pitch is at 7:10. To the NFL later this afternoon, the Packers have to cut their roster down to 53 men. Tight end Robert Tonyan, who is recovering nicely from his ACL injury, gives advice to the young players trying to make the team.
I mean, just staying positive in the locker room in general with all these guys, and just you don't know who they're going to keep on the team, so you want to keep it all positive. You want to keep all those people reassured that they're doing well and just want them to get better. So if they do end up on the team, then they're helping us win a Super Bowl.
The Packers' first game is September 11th at US Bank Stadium against the Vikings.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Bad news for Wisconsin football. They will be without their backup quarterback, Chase Wolf, indefinitely with a knee injury. Good news, though, with the season getting underway on Saturday, starting quarterback Graham Mertz says he loves his wide receiver group.
They got a little swag to them. They're having fun. They're competitive as hell. I mean, that's so exciting for me. It's a fun group. It's a group that loves each other. And the cool thing is they know how to get each other open on the field.
For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Here's a blast from the past. First of all, good to have you. But safety Morgan Burnett. Remember that name? He's going to sign a one-day contract. He wants to retire as a Green Bay Packer. He was with the team from 2010 to 2017. He was on this team when they won a Super Bowl and has decided to retire from the game. He was originally selected in the 3rd round going back to 2010, coming out of Georgia Tech. Started all 102 regular season games and all 11 postseason games he played in with the Packers. And they won the NFC North 5 times while he was there. And they also won a Super Bowl. I guess the Super Bowl is the big daddy, obviously, but one of the more infamous plays for Morgan Burnett was when he picked off Russell Wilson in 2014. And then, Julius Peppers was yelling at him to go down, and he did. Otherwise, I think the Packers win that game. They find themselves in a Super Bowl, and I think at that point in time, they win. I think they were heading in with a head of momentum. Big head of steam going into the postseason had they won that ball game. So, but Morgan Burnett, not signing with anybody. He's going to sign a one-day contract with the Green Bay Packers to officially retire as a Packer. So there you go. 877-867-1670. Find us if you choose to do so. We certainly appreciate it. Got a lot of stuff today. We'll get you caught up as the Packers cuts continue. And we'll get you caught up here at the bottom of the hour. Ben Kenny's going to give us all the latest. Unless something else happens, unless something large happens, we'll keep the cuts coming and keep you up to date. We've had a trade between the Eagles and the Saints that's gone down today. And we'll continue on coming up here in just a bit. Rico Gafford, by the way, has now been cut. Rico Gafford has now been cut by the Green Bay Packers. They are now down to 10. 10 more they have to cut loose. 10 more they have to cut loose today to get down to the mandatory amount by 3 o'clock this afternoon as well. So also coming up here in about 15 minutes, we are going to talk with Zach Heilprin. And Zach is going to give us the latest update on the Wisconsin Badgers. Obviously now without a true backup quarterback with any experience. Chase Wolf having a knee injury and having to have surgery, season-ending surgery, so his season is over. So now what for the Wisconsin Badgers? And Ben, from what I understand, the expanded edition now becomes in play for Kenny and Halpern, right?
Indeed, we are now Tuesday and Thursday, tonight from 6 to 7, and then Thursdays we are from 5 to 6 p.m. We're going to be live from Monk's Bar and Grill in Sun Prairie with different special guests every week. We have one set for Thursday. Don't believe we have announced it yet, but I'm pumped. I mean, college football is my favorite thing in the world, and I'm thrilled to be back in the swing.
Well, there you go. So, and Wednesday, by the way, so the huddles, for those of you that traditionally listen in on a Thursday night, the huddles have been moved to Wednesday all season long, every Wednesday night, all with the exception of the week of September. Oh, God, it's coming up, as a matter of fact. September. There is no huddle the week of the 12th, September 12th. Other than that, we have got 20-something weeks of huddles every Wednesday night, all the way through Super Bowl. So this coming Wednesday, coming up to tomorrow. I can't believe it's already Tuesday, but I was off yesterday, obviously. But tomorrow night, a special edition. We are going. Not only are we brought to you by Bud Light, but we are going to be live at the Budweiser Pavilion at the State Fair Park to close out the live music season outdoors. But tomorrow night is also Fisher House, Wisconsin night. So we can't wait to get out there. They're going to do a little bit for Fisher House, Wisconsin. We're going to do the show there. I'm hoping, I got to talk to him. I haven't talked to him yet. I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, is Mike Clemens coming out? So I'm going to see if I can't coax Mike Clemens to come out and join us tomorrow evening from 6 to 8 out at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. And we'll feed him some cheese curds and everything that's bad for your system. And we'll sit down and hopefully sit at one of the picnic tables. It looks like the weather is going to be spectacular. So I'm thinking, instead of going inside the Goose Island Ale House, I'm thinking tomorrow we're going to broadcast live from a picnic table sitting across from the Budweiser Pavilion with the fans. We're going to sit out with the fans tomorrow night and hang out and have a lot of fun. So it should be entertaining, to say the very least. Not only is football discussion and roster discussion and such pertinent tomorrow night, but tomorrow night also we're going to have a good time hanging out. So come on out, enjoy the music. It's the Toys Revisited tomorrow night. In addition to that, also we're going to have the huddle, and it's Fisher House, Wisconsin night. So there you go. What else do we have here for you? This is we got a couple of different ones. This is from Kurt. Kurt says, can you run over the cuts? Is it true that they've cut both of their running backs? Well, the Green Bay Packers earlier today cut Tyler Goodson and Dexter Williams. They didn't cut Patrick Taylor, did they, or did they?
No.
Okay, I didn't.
Not as of now.
I didn't think so. So I haven't seen it anyway. I haven't seen anything roll across my screen that says that they have cut Patrick Taylor. So some people are asking me, but I haven't seen it. Nothing official anyway that I've seen yet. But so right now, if you want to go through the cuts, you've got quarterback Danny Etling, running back Tyler Goodson, running back Dexter Williams, wide receiver Juwan Winfrey, Ishmael Hyman, the wide receiver, Sal Cannella, Elise Mack, Jack Heflin, Chris Slayton, Keel Byers, Sean Davis, the safety, Devontae Cross, the safety, Keandre Thomas, and Kabian Ento have all been cut loose. So there you go. Right now, you've got Jordan Love as your backup. So yes, he's not going anywhere. We all know that. That's not happening. This is from Chris, who says, what is the wide receiver room going to look like for the Green Bay Packers? And will they keep extra until somebody finally starts to show that they have the number one capability? No, I just think that they've always either wanted 6 or 7. That's just, you may be partially right, but I feel they've always wanted 6 or 7. That's what I've always believed. Because they've always liked that depth at wide receiver. And when you don't have this mass stable of guys, you kind of take the shotgun approach. You get as many guys as you can that can contribute so you can just keep rotating bodies in and out. That's what they like to do. So, and you've got enough contact on this team. And by that, I mean with guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield, tight end position, wide receiver position, slot receiver position. You've got enough contacts to throw to that I don't think that this offense is really going. Some people are man, I was watching the 4-Letter Network the other day over the weekend. It was the NFL live show, and they're just talking about the stagnation of the Packers offense. It's going to take them a long time to get it together. I don't think they're going to win game one. If they do, it's icing on the cake to me. Okay, over in Minnesota. And I know that's, pain to a lot of people's ears, and I understand that. But it may take a little bit to kind of get things going. It always does for this. I don't know why, but it just does. Very rarely have we seen this. Now, then again, the last time they opened up the season in Minnesota, they smoked them offensively. But I just, it's always taken this team a while offensively to get going. At least it did under Mike McCarthy. But it just takes a little rhythm, especially when you don't have quarterbacks, wide receivers, offensive linemen all playing in the preseason. They're just going through practice snaps against guys that really don't want to hurt them. Whereas in the regular season, there's a lot of people that don't give two damns. They want to run you over. So it just takes them a little while. This is from Matt. Matt says, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have his best season. Did you see they chose him third in the top 100 of the NFL? But he's been third the last couple of years too. Maybe he has a good season. That's a lot to make up for Devontae Adams. A lot to ask. Now, on the other hand, you can say you got Elton Jenkins back. It looks like Bakhtiari is going to be back. Your offensive line, knock on wood, barring mass injury, is really strong. So I'm thinking that it could be an offense that's better. It could be better numbers for Aaron Rodgers. But the reason, look, Tom Brady, even though some people say, well, he missed 11 days and he's not going to be Tom Brady. If you heard his post-game press conference over the weekend, and I did, and Brady looks a little thin. Anybody else notice that? He looked thin, man. I don't know what he's never been like a big, bulky dude, but he looks thin. Ben, did you notice that? Thin in the face?
No, actually. I don't think I've seen a picture of him since he's come back.
Yeah, he looks a little thin in the face. But that being said, the guy threw for the most yards in the NFL last year. So give it to him. I mean, even though he's still 45 years old, last year at 44, he threw for the most yards in the NFL. But to me, who cares? Who cares? My buddy Chris says he finally looks old, meaning Tom Brady. I don't know about old. He just looked thinner. He looked, at 45, you don't look frail, but he looked thin in that post-game presser. Tired. Now, granted, it's after a game, and he never does look like Tom Terrific, but he just looked different. But today comes out firing, says he's ready to go. Everything's good. Wouldn't allude to what was going on in the personal life and why he needed time away, but everything's good, he says. So, oh well, we'll see what Tom Brady has the capability of doing. But I still think, I would agree with you, I still think that you could have a terrific year out of Aaron Rodgers. I think you could have a surprising year out of Aaron Rodgers. But that's only if what he has around him doesn't have to be great and supersede expectations. It just has to be consistent, if that makes sense. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, talk to Zach Heilprin, sports director out of the Zone in Madison, part of the Kenny and Heilprin Show. Time to take a delve into the Wisconsin Badgers, as the Badgers are on the cusp of starting their season for 2022. And they ranked number 18 in the country coming into the season. Will they be able to sustain? Stay tuned. A whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show on this Tuesday edition, Tuesday, August 30th. Can't believe we're almost out of August. On one hand, I love football. On the other hand, Makes me sad. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Oh, 2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
The Mountain Dew Pull Tab Game is your chance to win an adventure-ready Winnebago Revel from Quick Trip. Go off-road and off-grid with a fully equipped Winnebago Revel by playing in your Quick Rewards app. Earn extra plays by purchasing participating Mountain Dew Energy, Bubbler, Muscle Milk, or Evolve beverages with Quick Rewards. Adventure begins where the pavement ends with Quick Trip and Mountain Dew. Download the Quick Rewards app today. No purchase necessary. See QuickTrip.com/sweepstakes for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Thanks to our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery up in Peshtigo. We put a package together for the golf outing yesterday, and they stepped up right away, them and the Four Seasons Island Resort. And they said, look, we'll give a winery tour, a private tasting and such with winemaker Jake, and whatever it is you guys need, we'll do it for Fisher House, Wisconsin. Can't say thanks enough to Forgotten Fire Winery. Ask for them by name, whether it's in a grocery store, if you're going to a liquor store, a wine store, maybe you're traveling up to Peshtigo, Wisconsin, or near that area, stop in. It's Forgotten Fire Winery. Go to ForgottenFireWinery.com. They are award-winning, but they really don't care about the awards. All they care about actually is the ability to make some good wines that you just enjoy. And whether you like ice in it or red wine with fish or whatever it happens to be, just enjoy it. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy it, especially this time of year as people are kind of gathering around the fire pits and such outside. And maybe it's a glass of wine, watching a game, whatever it happens to be. Just enjoy yourself. That's ForgottenFireWinery.com. Again, ForgottenFireWinery.com up in Peshtigo. Let's do this. Let's now change our sights from Packers over to Badgers. Zach Heilprin, sports director for WOZN out in Madison, part of the Kenny and Heilprin show as well. Joining us on the hotline. Zach, how you doing, pal?
Doing great.
So give me, first and foremost, with Wolf going down, who is the backup quarterback to Graham Mertz, Chase Wolf having season-ending knee surgery. Now what?
Yeah, it's tough. I think Wisconsin was probably going to be not in great shape if Graham Mertz went down, just because Chase has had trouble holding on to the ball. But it does obviously now lead to have some guys that have never played a college game before. Deacon Hill would figure to be the next guy in, redshirt freshman out of California, big guy, big arm, struggled with accuracy at times and decision-making that we got to see in spring, but I think he'd probably be the first one in. And then there's Miles Burkett, the true freshman out of Franklin, led Franklin to a state title last year in Division I. And, I think he's a solid player, but we haven't seen a ton of him. He does have the advantage of having coming in early, and so there is a little bit of that to him, but I think it's going to be Deacon Hill if Graham were to go down, and even Deacon Hill on Saturday night, assuming Wisconsin blows Illinois State out of the water like they're supposed to.
So let's talk about, we talk a lot about the running back position, which I think justifies and is warranted. Braylon Allen, Ches Malusi. It's great to have one guy, but they've got two guys who legitimately can not only break plays open, but can run for a lot of yards throughout the season. What is the balance going to be in your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a fascinating thing to see how it plays out, because we saw at the end of last year, Braylon Allen get run down pretty well. I mean, when Ches Malusi went down against Rutgers, it became the Braylon Allen show, because they didn't have Malusi, they didn't have Isaac Garendo, they couldn't really trust at that point Julius Davis. So it was Braylon Allen show, and I thought he wore down towards the end of last season. We saw it against Minnesota. So I think, we'll see how they want to play this, but I think there's going to be a pretty healthy share, at least to start the season. Braylon Allen's your clear number one, but if you could get Ches Malusi, 10 carries a game, and maybe even Isaac Garendo into the 5 to 7 carry per range, and you're able to allow Braylon Allen not to have to carry as much load as he did at the end of last year, it's significant for them. And again, I think they have three guys that could be really good running backs in Allen, Malusi, and in Garendo, and we'll see how they want to use him. I think that's going to be something that we'll see play out on Saturday night, the first time to kind of see where new running backs coach Al Johnson wants to have that at this point.
Let's take a look at the wide receiver position, because we have not seen a dearth of talent, this mass amount of guys that run 4.3 and can catch the football and become true weapons for the quarterback play of the Wisconsin Badgers. So tell me about the wide receiver position. Obviously, Bell and company, they're guys that we've seen, been there, done that. But on the other hand, although Bell's a redshirt freshman, but these guys, we've heard the names, but who's going to be the standout?
Yeah, I think Chimere Dike has a chance to be their true number one wide receiver, the best true number one wide receiver they've had since Quintez Cephas. He's got that type of ability. The kid out of Waukesha Jr. He's played a ton of football. He's been he ended up having to start a bunch of games in 2020 as a true freshman. Was the number 3 guy last year behind Danny Davis and Kendrick Pryor. I think he's ready to stand up. He had a great spring little bit of a quiet fall, though we didn't get to see a ton of practices, so I don't know if that was a consistent thing. But the young talent in the room is what's so exciting. You mentioned Skylar Bell. He made plays every time we saw him. They've got Dean Ingram moving over from cornerback to the wide receiver room, and he's in the slot. He just feels like he's got a knack for getting open in the middle of the field. Behind those guys, Marcus Allen and Keontez Lewis, it's a really interesting and I think talented group. I think it has more talent, and the group as a whole is better than what they've had the last couple of years. And so, again, we'll see how it plays out. As you said, that we haven't necessarily seen all of them outside of Chimray do something consistently, but I have very, very big expectations for that group as a whole.
Tight end position, is Cundiff the go-to guy?
He is. We talked to him yesterday, and he said, I asked him what his goal was, and he was like, I want to be one of the best tight ends in the country. And I'm sure some people will laugh at that, being like, he hasn't done anything. But he has the ability to both be a blocker. It's kind of what he was known for when he came here, but he has turned into a pretty good receiver as well. They joke with him. He's big play Clay, is what Graham Mertz called him yesterday. He had the second longest catch of any player on the team last year. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but he did. It was 40-something yards against Notre Dame. He's all the way back from that nasty leg injury. I think he's a complete guy that can probably do pretty much everything that Wisconsin needs him to. And then it's going to be, Hayden Rucci is more of your blocking tight end. Colt Dakovich is a blocking tight end. Jalen Franklin and Jack Eschenbach probably more your receiving guys. But Clay Cundiff, I think, is the guy that has the ability to do pretty much anything that you need him to do.
Then the offensive line. We know it all starts up front. The offensive line last year had its moments, and then at times they did not look like they had any moments at all. It was a little bit. It was. Put it this way: it wasn't what we're accustomed to when it comes to Wisconsin offensive line play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure it wasn't, and they have made some changes, not just at the players, but at the coaches. Joe Rudolph no longer at Wisconsin; he's out at Virginia Tech. They brought Bob Bostad back from the defensive side of the ball to coach the offensive line. Last time he was the offensive line coach at Wisconsin was 2010 and 2011, and those were two of the best offensive lines that Wisconsin's ever had. So they're hoping to maybe get that back. They have one starter back at the same spot from last year. That's Joe Tittman at center. Otherwise, they've moved. They have some starters back. They just moved them around. Jack Nelson's your starting left tackle. Michael Beach, who was a left tackle, is your left guard. Michael Furtnian, senior, who's waited his turn, is the right guard. And then Riley Mallman beat out five-star tackle Logan Brown to be the right tackle. They have some great depth there too. Milwaukee area kid and Joe Brunner is the backup at left guard. He's a true freshman. They've got a five-star backup at left tackle in Nolan Rucci. They have recruited extremely, extremely well at that spot. So I think even if they were to lose a guy or two, certain spots are probably more deeper than others. But on paper, Bill, this has a chance to be a much better group than the last 2 years. But again, that's only on paper, and it doesn't really matter on paper until they go out and show it, right?
How much does Ingram tinker with? I'm not going to say change because they're never going to change what their identity is, but how much does he tinker with the offense in the sense of being pro-style, downfield passing, maybe a little bit of riding the side every now and then, maybe mixing things up, some motion, things like that?
I think that there's going to be changes. When we talked to these guys in the spring, kind of asked them, like, would the average fan recognize the differences? And they said no. But I think that there are going to be some changes. And I here's my hope, is that they closed off so many practices to us here in the fall that there's going to be some significant changes that people are all going to recognize and that type of stuff. And they've just been trying to hold that back. And maybe we won't even see that Saturday night because of it. But I do think there's some more tosses, some more, motion, as you mentioned, some different pass routes, maybe some more shots down the field out of the slot. We saw that a bunch in the spring. I do think there are going to be some changes. I don't know if we'll see those Saturday night, but I still think it's going to be one of those things that we're going to have to see play out because they did not show much in the practices open to the media.
Now, defensively speaking, we know the defense has been somewhat of a staple, and they've been so good. And it doesn't matter all of a sudden the names; it's like plug and play, and somebody from the outside linebacking position becomes famous. So, you tell me, how good is this defense going to be? Is this the backbone of this team?
It is, and I've gone on record and said this, and I'll say it again. I think this defense has a chance to be as good as last year's defense. And that last year's defense was ranked number one in the country in total yards and set a record for rushing defense in school history. they lose 8 starters off of that, and yet I still think they do. I mean, their defensive line, led by Keanu Benton, is going to be, I think, better than they were last year. The outside linebackers, Nick Herbig, probably going to be a double-digit sack guy, a guy that has a real good chance of, this being his last year in college and then heading off to the NFL. And then the other outside linebacker spot, I think they have 5 guys who can start an outside linebacker, but it's going to be C.J. Getz. And then Darrell Peterson's the one I would really watch out for, the name that probably is going to jump up and grab people's attention at outside linebacker. They replaced their entire secondary with, or at least their corners, with transfers in Jay Shaw and Cedric Dort, Justin Clark, all those guys in the 2 deep. Alexander Smith dealt with a little bit of an injury at corner this year or this fall camp, but Jim Leonard thinks was their best guy throughout spring. Safety, John Torchio and Hunter Wohler. A little bit of depth issue there, though they certainly added a bunch of guys this offseason. The big question is inside linebacker, where you lose Jack Sanborn and Leo Chanel. Are the replacements going to be able to at least do their job? And I think they've got a star in Jordan Turner. He's a sophomore who's going to, I think, really be the next big guy there. And they've got some other bodies there too, but Jordan Turner, I think, is going to be the headliner.
So I know defensively speaking, they're going to be good, but let's look at the rest of the Big Ten real quick. I know that Notre Dame plays Ohio State game 1. Ohio State is expected to beat the hell out of Notre Dame and probably be the cream of the crop. But throughout the rest of the Big Ten, I said, look, until Michigan State does exactly what they're supposed to do, I don't believe in Michigan State. I don't believe in Nebraska. I think one of their tougher games is going to be over against Iowa. Penn State's always hit or miss. So is it Ohio State, Michigan, and then whom in the Big Ten?
Yeah, it's funny. We talked about the entire team, right? And we didn't talk about the quarterback, like the starting quarterback for Wisconsin. And I feel like that is the biggest deciding factor for the Badgers as to whether they are a Big Ten contender or not. Can Graham Mertz make the steps that are necessary to at least keep Wisconsin in games? I mean, he had 10 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year. That's not good enough. He's got to be better. He's got to be more consistent. The passing game has to be more consistent, because if you put that together with what we think they have in the run game and what we think they have on defense, they're definitely in the conversation for being in the running for not just the Big Ten West, but maybe jumping up and shocking Ohio State. They've been there 2017, 2019. They were right there to win those games, couldn't get it done. But Graham Mertz is the difference. If he has made strides, and I think he's made some, I don't know how big those strides are. I want to see him against an actual opponent with a pulse. But if he does, then I think Wisconsin is right there with those other 2 teams. If he doesn't, I mean, it's very hard for me to sit here and say that Wisconsin can go to Ohio State or go to Michigan State or even go to Iowa, maybe even Northwestern. Like there are a lot of tough road games. I don't know, without him playing at a better level, whether they can go and win on the road in those situations. So it'll come down to him. And if it's not, then the West is wide open. I think a lot of people think the West is wide open already with Iowa and Minnesota and maybe even Northwestern. I know some people aren't fans of Ben Kenny, but there's a number of teams in the West that I think maybe jump up and are able to grab that spot if Graham Mertz is not the quarterback that they need him to be.
Always good to talk to you, Zach. Looking forward to the weekend and getting college football officially underway. Appreciate it, pal. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Oh, all right, Bill. Thank you.
There you go. That's our buddy Zach Heilprin, sports director, WOZN in Madison, giving us a lowdown on the Wisconsin Badgers in the Big Ten, taking a full look at this football team as the Badgers get ready to open play this weekend coming up at Camp Randall. Let's step away. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll update you for all the Packers cuts and all the big news in the NFL. So stick around and stay tuned for that. We got it all coming up here shortly. Stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Wabam, WABAM. Go to getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com. Whether it's cleaning products, industrial, janitorial, for your home, or maybe some products like things for your motorcycle, your boat, your car, shining things up, ceramics and such. All of that product information is at Wabam. Go to getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com. Again, getwabam.com. They can ship directly to you, and they're right here in the state of Wisconsin, in Colgate, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. Again, go to getwabam, WABAM, getwabam.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome. Enjoying the day. Glad to have you back. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 10 years. You can lock it in right now. 10 years, 2.99%. Get your whole house done right now and get it all measured up. And as the cold winds get ready to blow, and I mean really cold coming into the winter months, your house is going to be economical. It's going to be more valuable. It's going to be more beautiful. And I can't say enough about the installation and the process and the warranties of our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. Again, PellaWI.com, or just simply call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. So on this cut down day in the NFL, we got to take a look as to what's going on, not only in our own backyard for the Green Bay Packers, but any major moves along the way. Ben, hit the music. It's time to get everybody caught up as to what's going on around the rest of the NFL and here in our own backyard. So give us a rundown.
So, Bill, as of this moment, the following players have been released by the Packers, many of whom we have talked about. Danny Etling, quarterback; at running back, Dexter Williams and Tyler Goodson; wide receiver, Jawan Winfrey; tight end, Elise Mack and Sal Cannella; and then on the defensive side, defensive linemen, Akil Byers, Jack Heflin, and Chris Slayton; linebacker, Ty Summers; cornerbacks, Kabian Ento, Keandre Thomas, Rico Gafford; and safeties, Devontae Cross and Sean Davis. And again, Kylan Hill, running back, starting the season on the PUP list. No news yet on Mason Crosby. In terms of NFL-wide, there was a big trade earlier. The Philadelphia Eagles traded for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Saints, safety, cornerback. They cut two safeties before doing that. In terms of notable releases, my guy Jack Cohn, cut from the Colts. They kept Sam Ehlinger, Texas product, instead. The Colts also released running back Phillip Lindsay. Many thought he maybe could make an impact there behind Jonathan Taylor. The Chiefs have released wide receiver Josh Gordon and defensive lineman Danny Shelton. The Bills, tight end O.J. Howard and running back Duke Johnson. The Bears, wide receiver Daz Newsome. The Buccaneers, wide receiver Tyler Johnson. The Browns, quarterback Josh Rosen. And only because it's the Packers and their special teams are special, the Bengals long snapper Cal Adamitis was released if the Packers want to go in a different direction. A couple more. Vikings quarterback Kellen Mond. If you remember the Mike Zimmer press conference clip talking about how he's seen enough from him a couple years ago after he was a fourth-round pick, he has been released. The Dolphins running back Sony Michel released. Wide receiver Laquan Treadwell from the Jaguars. The Lions cut linebacker Jarrad Davis, former first-round pick. The Dallas Cowboys, in an interesting move, keeping one quarterback, Dak Prescott, on the roster. Cooper Rush and Will Greer, both released today. And then a couple more moves. The Ravens signed former Raiders running back Kenyon Drake, with Gus Edwards starting on the PUP list behind J.K. Dobbins there. The Washington Commanders have cut former Wisconsin wide receiver Alex Erickson. And the Broncos have cut Josh Johnson, who has played on 14 NFL teams.
There you have it. That is everything that has gone of any significance today for the Packers and around the rest of the NFL. And the Packers, as our math goes, I believe have 10 more cuts to make. And, I'm still getting a lot of questions about Mason Crosby. By the way, the whole thing, and I had mentioned this earlier because I had a couple of people that had mentioned it, but the Danny Davis stuff, stop. First of all, at best, he's going to be a practice squad guy. At best. Beyond that, right now, don't care. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. It's just that Packers cut him a while ago. Can they bring him back? Yes, but for the most part, everybody's gripping onto that because he's a Wisconsin guy. But just stop. I'm not being a jerk. I'm just simply saying that right now there's bigger fish to fry. If he finds his way onto a squad, great. There's still opportunities there. But as of right now, it's just you got to move on. You can't just hang on to guys because they played in your own backyard. So, by the way, the Falcons, I think you mentioned this, safety Henry Black, former Packer, also being released today. Just an FYI. And then the other piece of news and note is that Morgan Burnett is going to be retiring on a one-day contract with the Green Bay Packers. The 49ers just released their offensive lineman, Jason Poe, as well. So just kind of going through some of these things. So anyway, that being said, that's where we kind of stand right now. This is from Honey Badger. Honey Badger says, love the secondary of the Green Bay Packers. They don't have a ton of depth, but this is going to be one of the top 5. Book it. I don't doubt that. I would agree with that. Put it this way, Jair Alexander, and there's two things I want to get into, and we will, I promise. But Jair Alexander coming back from injury, I think he is just loaded. He's ready to go. If you've listened to some of his media tete-a-tete, so to speak, and some of the discussion we've had about him from Mike Clemens, this guy's salivating to get back on the field and to kind of prove himself all over again. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think between Jair Alexander, Stokes taking that second year leap, Douglas giving you the nickel. We're waiting to find out about the rest of the secondary. Shamar Jean Charles, Kayson Nixon is another one that's back there right now. And who knows who else they pick up, if anybody, at this point. But I think it's going to be a really, at least starting on paper, is going to be really, really good. Really, really good. I'm excited about the defense. Now, the one thing that I shouldn't say one. I think there's two things they have to improve. What I want to see them improve on: get even more turnovers than what they did last year, and number 2, scoring defense. Those two things get better, and I think that this team is going to be a runaway. I just do. I don't know if they're Super Bowl bound, but when it comes to the regular season, getting to the postseason, I think they're going to be a runaway, and I think this defense could end up being top 5. I'm not going to say, the number 1 defense ranked in the National Football League, because I think there's some pretty solid defenses out there, but I think that we could finally witness what it's like to have a defense that you can say, go get the ball back, go stop somebody and get the ball back. And I think you can have confidence in saying that, at least as of right now. Knock on wood that it all materializes, but at least as of right now. Going to step away, take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers had practice yesterday. Rookie defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt, taken at the end of the first round out of Georgia, was getting chewed out by Jerry Montgomery, who's been coaching the defensive line the past 7 years in Green Bay. Kenny Clark was asked on when players can expect to get yelled at, even in front of their teammates.
I mean, if you do something that's like unacceptable, you know what that is. And if you do something where, like technique-wise, where you something that you can correct, just finding that fine line between all those things. But really, just like what we want him to keep doing is just keep, playing with effort, keep playing fast, don't slow down, because you don't want to lose the twitch and the quickness that he plays with. He plays with great quickness when he does do all the stuff right. So you don't want to lose that type of stuff. So I tell him to keep doing what he's doing, keep playing with the effort that he play with, play fast, and take the coaching, take the stuff that the older guys are telling him. Just keep on improving on it. Love the process.
Wide receiver Alan Lazard sat out the session. So did Mercedes Lewis. Robert Tonyan able to get some reps in at tight end in the team drills, coming back from that torn ACL. Now, the Packers are releasing players to get down to 53. Tonyan was asked how players should carry themselves on a day where as many as 25 teammates are being let go.
I mean, just staying positive in the locker room in general with all these guys, and just you don't know who they're going to keep on the team, so you want to keep it all positive. You want to keep all those people reassured that they're doing well and just want them to get better. So if they do end up on the team, then they're helping us win a Super Bowl.
That's Packers tight end Robert Tonyan. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
They're fantastic. That is J&L Tire out in Johnson Creek. Coming up after the top, we got a lot left to get to today. We're going to hear from inside the Green Bay Packers locker room, so that's all going to happen coming up in just a little bit. Tyler Goodson, Tipigalia as well. We're going to hear their commentary, so that's coming up here in a little bit. So got a lot to get to. A lot to get to still today before and that's keeping you up to date all throughout the afternoon on all the cuts that are going on regarding the Green Bay Packers as well. So stay tuned for that. If you want to chime in, 877-867-1670. Dean says, how many guys in the defensive front do you think they're going to keep? Well, Dean, Jerron Reed, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt. You still have Chris Slayton is no more. TJ Slayton is there. Dean Lowry is there. So the cuts continue. Heflin was cut loose. He's probably going to find his way to the practice squad. So you've got 5 that are right now up front, and which is a good rotation. It's a good rotation of guys. It's a good rotation of guys. So I like what they have up front. I like the fact that they've got speed and they've got depth, which is solid. Speed and depth. And go back to 2010 when you had all the down linemen, man. You had Ryan Pickett, you had B.J. Raji and Howard Green and C.J. Wilson, Cullen Jenkins, all those guys up front. You're able to rotate in that depth, and guys don't take a beating. Guys don't get overwhelmingly tired. They don't have to play 3 downs all the time. When you can rotate guys in, that especially big-bodied guys, that's huge. That's huge. So when you've got that kind of depth, you're good to go. What else do we have here? This is from Jason, who says, I really like Sean Ryan in the preseason. What do you think his role is going to be on this team? Well, his role right now is backup. He's going to be, him and Zach Tom are both going to be backups. If indeed Elton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari can start, then you've got John Runyon and Royce Newman, Josh Myers over at center. And those guys are going to continue to hone their craft, continue to get better. The best part about it is, again, going back to the opposite side of the ball, you've got depth and speed. You know, Yosh Nijman, a very capable backup when it comes to the left tackle position. Sean Ryan. Zach Tom can play the tackle position as well. Originally drafted as a guard, has really kind of filled in nicely behind Elton Jenkins over at the right tackle position. Then you got Jake Hansen, who can also fill in. Caleb Jones, who is another name to watch. So you've got guys right now that can play numerous roles on that offensive line. And that's really what the Packers like. They have always loved versatile guys, versatile players that can play numerous positions, specifically on the fronts. So I feel good about where they're at. And now, if, say, Bakhtiari can't go or doesn't look good, if Elton Jenkins has a flare-up, I mean, you know, obviously things can happen. But as we stand here today, I feel pretty good about where the Green Bay Packers are at in the trenches right now. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. Thanks to our friends at Cunis RV and Cunis Automotive. My goodness, the things they have done for us. Make sure you see Cunis down at the Walworth County Fair coming up this weekend. But they're going to have a big display there. But Cunis RV, fantastic people covering all different lines, all different makes, all different models, and Cunis Automotive as well. Great people, philanthropic people. Good to have them on board. We certainly appreciate it. Stay tuned. 2 more hours of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers started the process of getting down to the 53-man roster limit this morning. Among the players reportedly getting cut include running back Tyler Goodson, wide receiver Juwan Winfrey, defensive tackle Jack Heflin, and safety Sean Davis. Packers coach Matt LaFleur said yesterday this process is never easy.
Yeah, with every guy that gets released, I think it's only fair to them. I get a chance to speak with them. So that's how we operate, whether it's this time of the year or really any time of the year. Definitely want to thank them for all the hard work and the effort that they've put in.
Again, the roster has to be down to 53 by 3 p.m. today. Several former Badgers, also the victims of cuts today. That included Bengals wide receiver Kendrick Pryor and Colts offensive lineman Josh Seltzner. Turning to the current Badgers, they're just days away from opening their season against Illinois State. They'll get things going Saturday night. Backup quarterback Chase Wolf will not be out there. He suffered a knee injury last week that required surgery. He is out indefinitely. That likely means backup to Graham Mertz will be redshirt freshman Deacon Hill. Kick on Saturday night is set for 6 o'clock.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Brewers have won 3 straight games for the first time in a month. That's after they came back to beat Pittsburgh in walk-off fashion last night. Garrett Mitchell delivered a 2-run homer in the 8th to tie the game. Then Keston Hiura hit his 3rd walk-off homer of his career in the 9th to win it. It leaves them 1.5 games back of San Diego for the final wild card spot in the NL. They'll face the Pirates again tonight. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. Can't remind you enough, coming up this Sunday, we got to get you on board. Hopefully you can enjoy. Weather's going to be perfect. 77 degrees and sunny is what they're calling for. 73 to 77, somewhere in there. But it's going to be beautiful. Please come out and join us this coming Sunday, September 4th, as we ride for Fisher House, Wisconsin, the motorcycle ride, our 15th annual. And we're not only are we trying to make it better, which we believe we have, but we're trying to make it the biggest. We're shooting for 800 bikes this year. And everybody that's on board, whether it's the Rock Complex or Alpine Valley or our friends out at Knucklehead, Wisconsin, Harley-Davidson, they're giving it their all to make sure that all the riders are comfortable, they're taken care of, they have fun. It's going to be really neat. So if you can come out and join us, please, please, please do so. Go to fisherhousewi.org in the events page. Get signed up. fisherhousewi.org, or just simply scan the QR code. If you're watching on the Bud Light live stream right now, scan the QR code. It'll take you right to registration, and we are going to leave Milwaukee Brewing. Yes, it's open. We're good to go. No worries there. Leave Milwaukee Brewing this Sunday. It's going to be covered by our friends in Milwaukee at Fox 6. Really looking forward to that. So we can't say enough about it. It's exciting. So and any other news entity that wants to come out and be a part of it, we welcome. The more coverage, the better. But I know Fox 6 is sending their morning show out to be a part of the festivities and cover it. I got confirmation today the Milwaukee Fire Department's going to be there with us, Milwaukee Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, also our friends at the Franklin Police Department down in Franklin. So it's just going to be such a really cool day as we get this thing underway. A side note to the NFL stuff today. There's a lot of NFL stuff, but what we already thought was going to happen has happened. Did you see, Ben, that Cameron Smith has decided, yep, he's going over to the Live Tour, and now they're possibly taking away his cash for the fact they want to find out exactly when he did or didn't sign to be on the Live Tour?
I did not see the cash part. I did see that he committed to Live. Luckily, at least to me, these recent moves seem like the last for a while.
He apparently was in talks with the Live Tour prior to the Open Championship. And the question is, if he signed with the Live Tour prior to, they say he then is not eligible to win the Open Championship, which means they could possibly strip him of his title and cash. How about that? So, and also then you had Rory McIlroy yesterday saying that he can't stomach looking at the guys on the Live Tour. So that was rather interesting. But the golf making itself known. Do you now? I did go back. We haven't talked since all of this went down. But did you see the reaction from Greg Norman and many of the guys on the Live Tour as the PGA announced many of the changes they're making, including the additional money that's now going to be doled out to a lot of the players and some of the things they do and don't have to do? Did you find that interesting?
I saw it. The worst part about all of it to me was the reaction of many others around, talking about how correct Phil was and how he's really doing it justice. I a lot of the news, I think, from the tour was taken out of context of what they actually did and why they were able to do it. The Norman thing specifically, I mean, he kind of infuriates me if that hasn't been made clear already. I don't know. It's kind of a joke to me at this point, and it sucks more than anything. But the whole reaction that Phil was right about everything and how he carried himself and bringing more money into the game, that's just, at least from my understanding, not true at all.
Yeah, they're giving Phil, I think, far too much credit. Granted, maybe he brought awareness to it, and timing is everything, as we all know. But I think there's a legitimate question to say how much of the PGA would have changed had it not been for the Live Tour coming in and swooping up guys, and basically guys leaving to say, you're not going to pay us, you're not going to take care of us, we're out of here. I mean, and again, I agree with you, but perception becomes reality in many people's minds that, oh, by the way, the fact that, the PGA did not, quote, wake up to all of their issues and all of the feelings of many of the players until after the Live Tour came about. I think there's the perception is that the Live Tour, if anything, it inspired change in the PGA, right?
It definitely has inspired change. I think the change could have, the way he could have brought the change, there are more productive, paths to do that than to start an upstart tour that really has the purpose of sinking the PGA Tour and pushing them under to never exist again. But yes, it is unarguable that the presence of the Live Tour has forced the PGA Tour's hand to do stuff. And no one is debating the fact that there have been structural flaws and things that could be better forever. And with something happening to compete with you, you have to act back. So yes, I understand that part. I don't know.
Some other breaking news coming out of Chicago. It appears, anyway, that the Bears might be leaving Chicago quicker than a lot of fans have imagined. The Tribune reporter Brad Biggs says that the Bears could announce a new stadium plan before the end of this calendar year. The Bears made their plans for building a new stadium very clear last September when the organization purchased the rights to Arlington Park. So they said there's nothing else like Chicagoland, according to President Ted Phillips, said back in January. So the opportunities, we haven't begun to envision what it could be. Again, the timing of this, they're not sure of because they haven't closed everything, as of then. But now the organization intends to close on the land near the start of 2023, which is likely to be part of what Biggs referred to as, quote, an announcement to come before the end of the calendar year. Since the Bears move on possibly building a new stadium, the city of Chicago has been on them to try to, with Mayor Lori Lightfoot, try and announce 3 plans back in July to renovate the stadium, to provide more funding for the Chicago Bears, possibly building a dome to the stadium to rebel against the cold weather during football season and to make the venue a year-round experience for concerts, events, and such. Despite the city's effort, though, now the Bears, they have denied their intentions to remain at Soldier Field. I think the Bears are going to break their lease with the city in Soldier Field and move out to Arlington Heights once the stadium's finished. I don't think there's any doubt about this. It's a matter of not when and not if. Big said they want to get out of Soldier Field, which wasn't a great stadium to begin with when they opened it and reopened it. We'll say in 2003, they'd like to confer their own stadium in their own situation, and it's not going to happen overnight. But the Bears, remember, they don't own Soldier Field. The county and the city does. So for the Bears to create their own revenue stream, they have to own not only the stadium, but basically everything around it via what the Packers are doing and what the Cowboys have taken the lead in. And you look at what Robert Kraft has done around Gillette, all of those particular areas. The only way a lot of these teams make the additional revenue is if they buy the land up around the stadiums and then begin to put buildings and such that can be leased back to them and, either Green Bay Packers Incorporated or Dallas Cowboys Incorporated or whatever. That's the way they make the additional revenue outside of the realm of football. And the Bears don't have any ability to do that, especially when they don't even own the property. And it's all parks. It's the Parks District that manages it. They're at their behest. They're beholden to the Parks District. And God knows that field has sucked for years. Years and years and years. So the Bears, I believe, are going to move to Arlington. I know that every time you talk to somebody from Chicago, they say, I can't believe they're going to leave. I'm telling you, I think they're leaving. I think it's all but a done deal that they're leaving. They can build themselves a state-of-the-art stadium, get the property, the parking, all the buildings around that, all that extra land that they have. I'm telling you, I think they're gone. I know it might be a little bit of a shock, but hey, the Dolphins left. The Dolphins left downtown Miami and they moved away. The Dolphins are between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. They're way the hell out. So if they can do it, certainly the Chicago Bears can do it with the draw that they have in the city of Chicago. But anyway, that was just, another little side note to everything. This is from Art, who says, a longtime Packer fan, I think this is going to be our year. I'm not saying this was with optimistic green and gold glasses. I believe that Aaron Rodgers has something to prove. I believe the young wide receiving core is going to come of age. I think he's going to be protected well by veteran linemen, and receivers are going to then be able to flourish. I believe the run game is solid. There is nothing on this team where I can point at and say they are weak. Even the wide receiving core that many people allude to is still extremely strong. This is going to be the Packers' year. Book it, longtime Packer fan. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for listening to the program, and thanks for emailing. If you had to point at an area on this team that is weak, as far as the starters go, what would be the weakest area on this team? I think you'd have to look at the wide receiving core. If you had to say, Ben, the weakest area of the Green Bay Packers is, and fill in the blank, is it the wide receiving core? I think you'd have to say that.
If everybody is healthy,
tight end.
Yes. I would say tight end if Rob Tonyan isn't there, but I would also lean towards offensive line if both Bakhtiari and Jenkins are out. But if everyone's healthy, I think it's wide receiver.
Yeah, if everybody's healthy, I don't go back to, this true number one thing, because you don't have one on this team. Maybe somebody develops into a number one, or at least the most reliable or looked at target. But as far as having that true standout number one guy, that number one wideout, you don't have that. You've got guys, and that's okay when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you're looking at Jordan Love guiding this team, I think it's a drastically different situation. First of all, your weakest spot on the team would then become your quarterback position if you just replace Aaron Rodgers with Jordan Love. But I think the ability to be on the same page with, understand defenses and such, and to get with the guys, I don't think Jordan Love has that capability. But I'm not worried about whether or not Alan Lazard is a true number one, or Watkins has a rejuvenated career, or Cobb, remains healthy and he's considered the best slot receiver in football. It doesn't matter to me. I think they're going to spread the ball around. I think it's going to go to a lot of guys, and that group collectively will make up for the loss of Devontae Adams. I don't think you're looking for one or two guys to do it. You'd love to say that Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs comes in and they pick up, close to 100 catches and 1,800 yards. That would be great. But it's not a necessity, I don't think. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. The Packers have released Ladarius Hamilton. Ladarius Hamilton has been released by the Green Bay Packers. The outside linebacker. So he has been let go. So yet another move. So that would put us down to how many now? 9? 9 that they need to move now, Ben? Correct me if I'm wrong?
Yep. 9 left.
9 left. So 9 more moves have to happen, if our math is correct, for the Green Bay Packers to get down to their allotment. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll hit the phone lines. Got a lot more to get to. Also, a couple of things. After the bottom of the hour, I caught up with, for just a couple of minutes, with Brad Keselowski, NASCAR driver yesterday. He was at the Fisher House Golf outing. We're going to also hear some conversations from inside the Green Bay Packers locker room from yesterday. Mike Clemens was up there covering the Pack as they get ready for cutdown day and start to get kind of the process, if you will, getting ready for the beginning of the season. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hearts of fire, streets of stone.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show continues on. A couple of things. First and foremost, got to say congratulations, by the way, to our buddy Jeff Stoll from Stoley's Hog Alley. Him and his wife, Alicia, they finally today, they poured, or I think it was either today or yesterday, they poured the new concrete floor for the dining area as they continue their renovation. I saw the pictures online. They're still open. They're still open. So check out Stoley's Hog Alley and our friends at Stoll's All 109 up in Watertown. Stoley's Hog Alley out in Oconomowoc Summit, to be exact. But stop out and tell them we said hi. Good stuff as they continue to effort towards the grand reopening, if you will, of the new renovation that is Stoley's Hog Alley. Andy says the Buccaneers released veteran defensive back Logan Ryan. He isn't subject to waivers, so there's a good chance he's going to be back in the 53. But should the Packers make him an offer? No. Why? For backup? For backup? I mean, who are you replacing? You know? It's not a bad move if you get him for depth, but you're not going to pay him a contract for whatever he's going to be demanding for depth, even though you know you need it, but you don't need it right now. I think that we just talked about this. I think, I think that they're going to have one of the better secondaries in football. Pound for pound starters. Now, the depth, that certainly can come into play. But I think as of right now, no, they're pretty happy with what they got. Tyler Johnson released by the Buccaneers. Way better hope than Danny Davis. That's from Bernard. This is Sydney, who says, great day yesterday for Mitchell and the Brewers. Hope they can continue to win. However, I'm focusing on the Green Bay Packers and their defense. Can it get stronger? Who is going to be on the depth charts? Well, that's what we're waiting to find out. Luis says, good day, Bill. Great organization. Way to raise money yesterday. Hopefully you guys can do it this weekend. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be an MVP candidate again. See, no matter how, he could play off the charts this year. This is interesting because I know there was this group of people, how do I put this, that looked at the third ranking and say, oh my God, he's going to be mad. But why? He's been third the last couple of years. I don't think, we all know that Aaron Rodgers uses any bit of motivation to push him. No doubt. But I don't think, now this is just my opinion, but I don't think that Rodgers looks at being ranked third as a giant slap in the face, even though he's been the MVP the last couple of years. Tom Brady threw for more yardage. Tom Brady's got the rings. He's got the rep. I get it. I think it's interesting that, like Aaron Jones has fallen out. Maybe if I thought there might be more consideration for Aaron Jones because you look at the fact that he's dividing time with A.J. Dillon and they have a solid 1-2 punch. But you can also look at it and say, well, once A.J. Dillon went down in that game against San Francisco in the postseason, Aaron Jones didn't do a whole lot. So maybe there's something to be said there. But if anybody has a reason to put a chip on their shoulder and come back with a vengeance, if you will, I think it's going to be Aaron Jones. I don't worry about Aaron Rodgers' play. But Aaron Rodgers would have to play beyond off the charts for him to get that kind of consideration again for a third straight MVP. I just don't think it's going to happen. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is from our buddy Steve. He says, I was a little surprised the Packers cut Chris Slayton. Is he a candidate for the practice squad? I agree with you about the offensive and defensive line. Great drafting by Goody, and the pickup of Jerron Reed was key. Good depth and rotation should keep the D-line fresh. Nice win by the Brewers last night. I know it's very small sample size, but I'm impressed with Garrett Mitchell. I like the fact that he was picked off but kept his head down and was still able to steal second base, although they have been scuffling and now are turning things around. I'm impressed that this team is not quitting. Hopefully they can get on a little bit of a roll. The 8-game stretch against St. Louis and the New York teams will be the defining stretch of the season. Enjoy the beautiful day. That's our buddy Steve in Richfield. Steve, you to me. You to me. I agree with you about the stretch. If they can get on a bit of a roll and get through New York, the Mets, the Cardinals, and the Yankees at 500 or better in that stretch, that would be huge. That would then say, okay, look, and again, I agree with you also on the fact that they haven't quit. it looks like at least. Now, again, winning looks different. In baseball, winning looks different. In football, there's fights, there's scrappiness, there's, until you're completely blown out of a game or until the time ticks down, guys are giving it their all for the most part. Okay, you don't want to get run over. You don't want to get embarrassed. You don't want to lose the man-to-man battle, okay? Baseball looks different because guys can look lifeless. A strikeout, a ground out, things where it just happens to not go your way, that can look different through no fault. You know what I mean? But baseball has a different look, a different energy, a different feel to it. When you're losing, everybody looks down. They're standing at the top of the stairs. They're kind of, the arms are folded. Guys got their chins on their elbows. They're kind of watching to see if something happens. Now guys may be standing up a little bit straighter, maybe clapping a little bit more, a little more cheering, whatever it happens to be. When you're winning and things look good, you can feel a different palpable energy. But baseball is a different animal. You can't judge certain things by the look of baseball. You can see lethargic play. You can see guys not running out ground balls. You can see mental gaffes when it comes to, say, outfielders hitting cutoff men or overthrowing, underthrowing, looking as if they're dogging it, trying to cut one off in the gap. You can see that. But in football, it's just different. It's different because, in football, if you let up, you can get your ass handed to you. You can end up hurt. Eight 867-867-1670. So Ben, basically, it's the St. Louis Cardinals from Friday to win the National League Central. Brewers coming in second, and everybody else pretty much out of it from there. That's the betting lines of what you're sending me, right?
Yeah, it is. Cardinals are minus 1,000 to win the Central, up 6 games. The Brewers plus 700 where we stand today. They are, though, minus 160 to make the playoffs, which is like a 56, 57 implied odds there.
Right. Do you think they make the playoffs?
Ooh, if I had to guess today, no. And that's, entering Saturday before they won the 3 straight, they were like 2-15 or 3-12, something horrible against the Reds, Pirates, and Cubs in the last 17 games against them. Until that turns around, which it has in the last 3-4 days, but until that turns around completely, then I'm not betting on them to make it.
Let's go to the phone calls. Let's talk to our buddy Daniel listening to us in Toma. Daniel, what's going on, man?
What's going on? I guess I've called. I was wondering, do you think Goodson would make on the practice squad?
I think that's what they're hoping to do. Yeah.
And so, I guess I'm just curious about the. In a way, he had a disadvantage. We had 2 good running backs, and then I was the practice squad. Now, when does that start? At 7:00 tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow.
Or do they got to wait
tomorrow
till the afternoon?
Well, guys are cut, and then they're told that whether or not they're going to bring them back to the practice. The guys are told whether or not they're coming back to the practice squad before they walk out the door. So, to me anyway, guys will be there. But I'll say this, that I believe that, they're told, hey, you're going to come back unless, of course, another team grabs you.
Right. And I disagree with you on your weakness. I think that our weakness is special teams, and our weakness is also our defensive back. Not be saying they're not good, but every year I hear us saying that they're great, but every year they give up too many long passes and miss too many tackles. Until they prove anything different, I'm sorry. I don't have confidence. Every year we get burned because they let some receiver. And then it's not because they ain't got the physical ability. It's the miscommunication. Maybe it's the guy making a single call back there, whatever. Every year I hear the same excuse. Oh, I didn't realize I was supposed to be there. I didn't know this.
Right.
And until they get their communication down, they are my weakness, the defensive back, as a solid. And I told you 2 years ago, and you know this, and I'll tell you right now, until the special teams stop giving up the long returns, they're a weakness too. They have cost us 2 years in a row in the playoffs. because they let a 40-yarder, a 50-yarder. There's no excuse for it. I mean, to miss one tackle with the whole team missing, come on. You know
Right.
that's what's cost us the game against Tampa, and it cost the game against the 49ers. We could have kept them down there. We would be in at least another playoff game. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, look,
That's
they've had, you go back to Kevin King not realizing that he had a guy behind him or letting a guy get behind him in the game, going back to the NFC Championship game. Last year, you can't fault the defense. It was the offense more so than anything, and special teams more so than anything it cost them. But I agree.
Teams, that's what I said. The special teams but they got to learn to tackle. And I'm sorry, but it's very important. Look in 1996, our special teams was actually the MVP. It was not Favre. It was the special teams because they were not letting long returns. They did not. And they made their own long returns, but the other team could not get out of the end zone.
Yeah.
Until we stop that, then we are a good team. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion.
Nope.
I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but that's where our weakness has been.
No, I completely get it.
Just because you're not a starter, you're still important. That special team is very important.
In football, absolutely. I'm 100% agree.
And that's what's caused us several playoff games and regular season games, and not just the field goal. I am talking about the tackling, and it's very important. And everybody keeps on forgetting about it. Well, they're a starter. No. They need to do special teams. That's just my opinion.
Yep. No, I agree. Appreciate it, man. He drops off. You get on board 877-867-1670. Coming back, we'll do a couple of things. First and foremost, we'll get the update as to what's going on around the rest of the NFL. Also, the Green Bay Packers. We'll also get back to the phone lines. Our buddy Mike in West Dallas is on hold. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The days are getting shorter, but the racing continues at Road America through the middle of September. For all the information, go to roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com.
Are you a gold breaker? Play your favorite games at Potawatomi Sunday afternoons now through September, and you could win your share of $1 million in prizes. Break the code, win the $10,000 top jackpot, and everyone playing slots also wins a prize. Anyone can win on any machine again and again. Do you have the golden touch? Gold Breaker, only at Potawatomi. Visit paysbig.com/goldbreaker for more. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau. And they are he is Wisconsin's best canvas upholstery boat cover provider. And you can check them out on Facebook. Easy. Go to Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com to check out the website, but you can follow them on Facebook. Dwayne's Cover It All, DUANES, Dwayne's Cover It All. Or call 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. Again, 715-870-2119. We'll get back to the phones coming up here in a minute. Time to get to what's going on around the NFL. And we've been kind of updating everything, so to speak, when it comes to what's happening in the NFL and the Packers cuts. But let's get to it. Play the music, Ben. Let's fire it up. And what else is new? What else is going on as NFL Cutdown Day is now upon us?
So, Bill, the Packers have now made 17 cuts before the deadline today at 3 o'clock. They have 8 left to make. The ones made so far: quarterback Danny Etling, running backs Dexter Williams and Tyler Goodson, wide receiver Juwan Winfrey, tight ends Elise Mack and Sal Cannella, defensive linemen Akil Byers, Jack Heflin, and Chris Slayton, outside linebacker Ladarius Hamilton, inside linebacker Ty Summers, cornerbacks Kabian Ento, Keandre Thomas, and Rico Gafford, and safeties Devontae Cross, Sean Davis, and Innis Gaines. No offensive linemen released as of now. which is of note. Rasheed Walker, 7th-round pick, was making a push there at the end of the preseason for a roster spot. In terms of around the NFL, the big trade today, the Philadelphia Eagles acquire Gardner Johnson, the cornerback safety from the Saints. They also released starting safety Anthony Harris and Jaquiski Tart to make room for that. They gave up, I believe, a 5th and a 6th-round pick for Gardner Johnson. The Colts in releases have cut Jack Cohn and running back Phillip Lindsay. The Chiefs defensive lineman Danny Shelton and wide receiver Josh Gordon. The Bills tight end O.J. Howard and Duke Johnson. The Bears gets interesting. Wide receiver Daz Newsome and quarterback Nathan Peterman, the man famous for throwing, I believe, 4 interceptions in a half. Before he was pulled in that game. But they also released veteran offensive lineman Michael Schofield. We know O-line is a question there. And also defensive lineman vet Mario Edwards. So weird cuts coming out there. The Buccaneers have cut or will cut Tyler Johnson and Logan Ryan, maybe trying to float Tyler Johnson's name out for a last-minute trade. The Browns have released quarterback Josh Rosen. The Bengals long snapper Cal Adamitis. The Vikings quarterback Kellen Mond. Dolphins running back Sony Michel. The Jaguars wide receiver Laquan Treadwell, former high draft pick. The Lions linebacker Gerard Davis, another former first-round pick. The Niners vet receiver Willie Snead has been released. And then in quarterback news, both the Cowboys and Lions only have one quarterback. Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, respectively there. Cooper Rush, Will Greer have been cut there in Dallas. The Ravens are signing former Raiders running back Kenyon Drake, with Gus Edwards starting on the PUP list. The Washington Commanders have cut former Wisconsin wide receiver Alex Erickson. And the Broncos, just because it's interesting to see this guy's Wikipedia page, have released Josh Johnson, the vet of now 14 NFL teams in I couldn't tell you how many years. So a lot more cuts, but those are definitely the noteworthy ones. Also, Logan, I mentioned Logan Ryan. That one came by a little bit recently. There's a lot of chatter that maybe the Bucs is coming from their writers are floating Tyler Johnson's name out there because former Minnesota product, good young receiver, maybe doesn't have the best rapport with Brady. Maybe they're trying to get a last minute pick in for him. But aside from that, those are the headlines.
There you have it. That's it. That's the updated version. We'll go through maybe the 8 cuts yet to happen for the Green Bay Packers as they continue to trickle out. They got to get it down to the mandatory roster by today at 3 p.m. Central Time. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's talk to Mike listening to us in West Dallas. Mike, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing, Bill?
Good. As real quick, the Packers releasing the guard center Michael Manet today. He has also been cut loose. So there you go. So what else?
Gotcha. So I think Sammy Watkins is in danger of being cut. And let me give you the reasons why. So he's on a minimum salary. It would only cost you $400,000 to cut him, so you don't have a lot invested in the guy. You know, by all media accounts, he's been kind of a disappointment in training camp so far. He doesn't play special teams. He's injury prone. He hasn't really separated himself versus the other wide receivers. You know, Dubs has been their best wide receiver in training camp. You know, Christian Watson is now healthy. I don't think the Packers invested 2 second-round picks and traded up in the early second round for him to just sit on the bench. You know, Samori Toure has looked great in the preseason. He looks like a player. You know you're not cutting Randall Cobb because he's best friends with Aaron Rodgers. And, you know, they used Amari Rodgers in that last preseason game in like a poor man's Deebo Samuel type role. And I got to be honest with you, Bill, I thought he looked really good in that type of role. I think he could provide a lot of value doing that. And I think he would give opposing teams something to think about and would make their offense more dangerous. So if I'm the Packers, when you add all that up, I would rather roll with the young guys that they have versus I just don't see Watkins' place on this team. Because after a couple weeks, I just don't think that he's going to get any playing time. What are your thoughts on that?
When we're going to go through the last 8, who I think are the last 8 out, but I think that Sammy Watkins is on the team. Aaron Rodgers has spoke of him not only being a guy that's kind of upped his game at practice, but also a guy in the locker room that has been really good. And the fact that he has not played in the preseason tells me that they plan on keeping him. Otherwise, if they had questions about his ability, they'd be playing the guy in the preseason, and they didn't. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's the reason I believe he's
hear
going to make this team.
Yeah. I wish he wouldn't. I don't know how else to say it. I think the other guys are better at this point. He's a veteran, but I think the other guys off. I mean, we saw what the Brewers did yesterday. Look what Keston Hiura did. Look what what's his name? Garrett Mitchell did yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just a great example that just because you have a veteran, it doesn't make him the best player. It just means that he's experienced. I think I would rather roll with the young guys over injury prone, guy like Sammy Watkins, who I don't think offers you much at this point.
I think right now unless another veteran becomes available that they get enticed with, I don't think Sammy Watkins is going anywhere. At least not yet. Maybe later down the road, but at least not yet. Just my opinion.
Sure.
I mean, but I just think that they brought him in to be a veteran, even if he's not going to be this highly productive veteran, even if he pushes Romeo Dubs or gives them depth, whatever it happens to be. I think he's going to be here.
Sure. Yeah. Fair enough. I guess we'll see what happens.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for chiming in. He's on board. You get on board. 877-867-1670. So they've got 8 cuts to make. 8 more to go. Let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll start to roll through some of the guys that you believe may or may not make this team. You got 3 running backs, Jones, Dillon, and Taylor right now. 2 quarterbacks, Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. You've got your wideouts of Alan Lazard, Sammy Watkins, Romeo Dubs, Randall Cobb, Amari Rodgers, then obviously Christian Watson. You would assume that's going to be it, and Samari Toure ends up on the practice squad, which means Hyman and Walker both would be, or Hyman would be the God man out. You think you're kind of set on your offensive line. We'll get into the rest of this coming up here after the break. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break, come back, hear from Mike Clemens, and then start to take a look at the rest of the lineup coming up right after this on the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Wow, 2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Proof credit.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers held practice yesterday in helmets, shells, and shorts. Safety Darnell Savage was back after missing time since family night with a hamstring injury. Wide receiver Alan Lazard was out. Tight end Robert Tonyan continues to practice, coming back from that torn ACL, and was asked how the knee is coming along.
Just more and more every day, feeling it. It's kind of nice. And honestly, I just kind of like implementing more and more day to day. Just I feel better every day, surprise myself all the time. So just continuing to make those strides, and then, implementing contact is like the biggest thing right now.
So the Packers now face the Vikings in less than 2 weeks. Will Tonyan be able to play, or is it too soon to tell? Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I think it's a little early to say that right now. That was his first action in team periods. So we'll just see how he responds. And sounds like a broken record up here, but take it one day at a time.
It's quiet today around the facility, with as many as 25 players being released to reach the deadline of 53. Does the head coach meet with each of the players on their way out?
Yeah, with every guy that gets released, I think it's only fair to them that I get a chance to speak with them. So that's how we operate, whether it's this time of the year or really any time of the year. You definitely want to thank them for all the hard work and the effort that they put in. And certainly it's an emotional time for these guys. You got a lot of respect for what they've done and the effort and the work they put in and the teammates they are. And you got a great locker room. So it's a tough situation to be in, but it is kind of the nature of the beast.
That's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back to the program. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up after the top of the hour. Also hear a little bit from Robert Tonyan as well. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends at Milwaukee Bedbug Pros. If you have not heard about them, oh yeah, Milwaukee Bedbug. Don't let the name Milwaukee fool you. Milwaukee Bedbug Pros. They get the job done in a lot of different areas, and it doesn't matter whether it's bed bugs or ants or roaches or flying stink bugs, whatever it happens to be. They are safe. They're effective. They have different options. So kids, no problem. Dogs, pets, no problem. Discreet trucks, uniforms, yep. Customized solutions for your different situation, your budget as well. And whether you own a home, maybe a townhouse, maybe you're a property owner, like multi-unit apartment buildings or a condo or dorm rooms. Maybe you own a hotel or you manage a hotel or a motel or a resort, medical facilities, daycares. They can do it all. Call Michael, 414-877-5811, 414-877-5811. Eco-friendly treatments. They can do it with thermal heat, chemical options like I mentioned, or you can just find out all the information. Go to MilwaukeeBedbugPros.com. That's MilwaukeeBedbugPros.com. So this was posed to me. Mark says that the Broncos waived Kendall Hinton. They released him. Good story there, but he's a really good route runner from what I've understood. Good route runner, but he doesn't have the blazing speed. So could he be an option? Certainly. but he was let go by the Denver Broncos today. Unless you're a Kendall Hinton fan, do you know about Kendall Hinton? Is there something there that makes you go, oh, yeah, we got to have him? And I get it. Maybe you're looking over that fence and trying to find the next guy or a guy that can be even better on the depth chart. I get it. But really good route runner. I had a chance to talk with my buddy out in Denver a while back about some of the wide receivers they have there for Russell Wilson. But, Jalen Virgil is the guy they ended up going with. Big dude, a lot of speed. Kendall Hinton, not as tall. Good route runner. Reminds me a lot of Allen Lazard. Good route runner. Good hands. But doesn't have the unending upside, so to speak, if that makes sense. By the way, Sammy Watkins says, I know many guys don't have to worry or even think about it this way, but thank you, God, Jesus, for allowing me to perform and stay healthy and make the squad 9 years. You never know how the pendulum may swing. And all I can say is I'm thankful. Let's get it. So and then hashtag at Packers. So Sammy Watkins, you would assume, and I thought so, but he has been told, yeah, I'm going to be a part of this squad. So Sammy Watkins, for those that were thinking he might not be, that, he is going to make this squad. This is from Lewis, who says, what about O.J. Howard? Did the Bills let him go? I think they did, right?
Oh, yeah.
That would be an upgraded tight end. I agree with that. Now, again, you got to go out and find some of these guys, and you got to be able to afford these guys and get them in. But Lewis says, what about O.J. Howard? Who are you going to bump at the tight end position? Josiah DeGuara, you would assume? Because you're keeping Mercedes Lewis, keeping Robert Tonyan. So think about who you're going to bump out of that group. But O.J. Howard now is going to be on the market as well. When we come back, we'll hear some of the final thoughts from Matt LaFleur. Got a lot more to get to. Another hour of the Bill Michaels Show is coming up. Stay tuned. You're about, 2 hours away now from all the final cuts. We'll go through what we believe to be the final 8 as well. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
Right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Brewers have won 3 straight games for the first time in a month. That's after they came back to beat Pittsburgh in walk-off fashion last night. Garrett Mitchell delivered a 2-run homer in the 8th to tie the game. Then Keston Hiura hit his 3rd walk-off homer of his career in the 9th to win it. It leaves them 1.5 games back of San Diego for the final wild card spot in the NL. They'll face the Pirates again tonight. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Good day. Welcome. Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. On Cutdown Day, we're going to run through at the bottom of the hour everything that's happened, and we are less now than an hour away, 58 minutes away. Or excuse me, an hour and 58 minutes away from the Green Bay Packers needing to cut 8 more guys. We'll talk a little bit about that and who they may be coming up here in just a little bit. This portion of the program, again, brought to you by our good friends all over that support the motorcycle ride coming up this coming Sunday. If you haven't gotten registered, please do so. Our friends at Bud Light, Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, Potawatomi Hotel Casino, Milwaukee MKE Brewing, also our friends at Growth Law. Go to growthlaw.com. Great Lakes Dragaway. Big time. They got, as a matter of fact, go to greatlakesdragaway.com. They got Leroy Butler going to be coming down there to sign some autographs. The Grave Digger, Gilbert Brown as well. Also, our friends at the Rock Complex, which opened up the Lux Golf Bays a couple of weeks ago. And oh, my God, those things are awesome. Our friends at Alpine Valley, Potawatomi, like I'd mentioned, Knucklehead out in Eagle, which is a great place to go and grab some food. Buzzard Billy's out there in the western portion of the state in La Crosse. And our friends Andy Kane and the group at Kane and Kane Jewelers, Koehn, Kane and Kane Jewelers as well. Get signed up. If you haven't already, we're running down the home stretch now. Get signed up. And the benefit to getting signed up, because some people say, well, why should I sign up early? Because only those who pre-registered are in the running then for the drawing for 4 different prize packages, whether it's a race package up at Road America, Brewers tickets and dinner packages and such from the Brewers. Also, our friends at the Milwaukee Bucks got a Bucks package and an Emeralds package. We got a Badgers package. The only way to get involved in that is to win it via the pre-registration. Otherwise, yeah, the prizes are terrific for the motorcycle ride, which we're giving away a 75-inch big screen TV. We're giving away beer for a year, backpacks and dartboards and golf bags and all that kind of stuff. But the only way to get in is to get pre-registered for the prize packages for the tickets. So get signed up. Go to FisherHouseWI.org and go to the events page. That's FisherHouseWI.org and go to the events page, and you'll see it, the 15th annual Big Unit Poker Run coming up this Sunday, and it promises to be fantastic. Our friends up in Green Bay, meaning Mike Clemens, he ends up sitting down and taking a listen to what Matt LaFleur had to say yesterday, getting ready for today, which is cut-down day in the NFL and cut-down day for the Green Bay Packers. This is what Matt LaFleur had to say.
Elton want to be back today?
I knew that was going to be the first. I know. Yeah, he'll be back out there today. So he's doing good.
You get a base off the pup?
Not today. So we'll see how he is. Again, taking it day by day. And I know he kicked yesterday, so we'll just see how he responds.
Matt, as these decisions are made over the next couple of days, like how much communication do you have with players, as they're released and talks about bringing back on the practice squad? Like what's your communication level?
Yeah, with every guy that gets released, I think it's only fair to them that I get a chance to speak with them. So that's how we operate, whether it's this time of the year or really any time of the year. You definitely want to thank them for all the hard work and the effort that they put in. And certainly it's an emotional time for these guys. It was emotional with Ty yesterday. Like I mentioned, you got a lot of respect for what they've done and the effort and the work they put in and the teammates they are. And we got a great locker room. So you never want to, it's a tough situation to be in, but it is kind of the nature of the beast.
Are you just doing generic stuff today, or are you doing a lot of Vikings game planning? I just wondered if you have any concerns about you cut somebody and they might pick somebody up.
Yeah, no, it's all generic.
Chris Slayton was drafted in 2019. He's never played in a game, but he's been really good for you. What did you see back when you signed him, and what have you thought of his development?
Yeah, no, Chris, he's done a really nice job, and I think the first thing that stands out is the effort that which he plays with, and he's making it really difficult on everybody in terms of what route we're going to go.
Matt, what did you think of the camp that Jack Coco put together to go from a guy that wasn't a full-time long snapper to being in contention for that spot for you?
Yeah, I think Jack's done a really nice job of everything we've asked him to do. I think he's worked extremely hard. He doesn't get many breaks during practice. It's either Rich or Byron is on him the whole time. So he's done a nice job, and certainly he's far from a finished product at this stage of the game. He's still a really young player, and but he's handled everything we've asked him to do really well.
How did Bobby look yesterday?
Yeah, it was great to see Bobby back out there. He was running around. He looked good. So again, we'll see how he responded. Obviously, being on the turf, I don't think any of our guys love being inside. I got a bad weather report. Was told that there was going to be thunderstorms. That never happened. So wasn't too happy about that.
Welcome to Green Bay.
I know you're not trying to put the cart before the horse with any of these guys, but is he trending the right way for week one?
Yeah, I think it's a little early to say that right now. That was his first action in team periods. So we'll just see how he responds. And again, I know it sounds like a broken record up here, but take it one day at a time.
That's good. Thank you.
All right, guys.
There you go. That was Matt LaFleur meeting with the media, a very short period of time. Talked a little bit about Mason Crosby, and they're going to see how he's doing right now. Ahmed, the current kicker, is going to be kind of holding his breath to find out if Mason Crosby indeed is going to come back, if he doesn't know already. And you're going to find out if they take Mason Crosby off of the PUP list. Jack Coco, as of right now, is making this squad. Pat O'Donnell is your holder. He's your punter. We're going to wait and see what happens with Mason Crosby, like I had mentioned. And then some of the other cuts that could possibly be made. Now, Ben, I'm trying to go through my list, and the list has become rather fluid here with all the cuts today. But if I have to go with wide receivers, Alan Lazard, Sammy Watkins, we know, he says he's made it, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. There's your four. And then wide receiver Randall Cobb, Amari Rogers. And you would assume with Juwan Winfrey getting cut, Amari Torrey is going to be on the squad. That's 7 wide receivers, correct?
Yeah.
Think we're good there?
Yeah, the 7th spot to me was between Winfrey and Toure. And him going makes me think Toure's on it.
And Toure really had a pretty good preseason. So I would assume he's on it. Then obviously you got David Bakhtiari at your left tackle, John Runyon, Josh Myers, Royce Newman, Elton Jenkins. Yosh Nijman, is going to make it. Sean Ryan, is going to make it. Jake Hansen is there right now. Zach Tom is there right now. And Caleb Jones and Rasheed Walker. Do you think they cut Rasheed Walker? I don't think so, but maybe. I think Caleb Jones is going to make the squad. I would be surprised if he doesn't, because I don't think with the way offensive linemen are, I would assume that Caleb Jones is going to make this, only for the fact that his size and what we saw him do in flashes in the preseason, somebody will grab him. You would assume. So I think I think that those guys make the squad, which leaves you Robert Tanya, Mercedes Lewis, Josiah DeGuara. I don't know with the cutting of Sal Cannella and Mack what is going to transpire after that. But I would assume they're going to go with those 3, possibly 4 tight ends.
Well, the talk recently has been Tyler Davis in position to make the team,
right?
Despite
that's what I'm saying.
Some of the in-game struggles. That's what's been very surprising. I thought he almost played himself off of the roster in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. He's your bubble guy. There's Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, as we all know. The Packers have already cut Danny Etling. Then Tyler Goodson being let go. Dexter Williams being let go. I think your running backs are set at Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and Patrick Taylor. Then you go over to the defensive side of the football. Jack Heflin is gone. Chris Slayton is gone. TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Jerron Reed, Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry. That's probably going to be your big five rotation up front. I don't think you're going to see, Jonathan Ford. I don't think you're going to see him make it. My assumption is he might be the next guy out. Preston Smith, Jonathan Garvin, Engabare. He played pretty well. He had his moments. He had flashes. Devondre Campbell, Chris Barnes, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie. You would assume Ray Wilburn. And I can't remember if I think he's still with the on the roster right now, but he might be the next guy out. But Isaiah McDuffie really showed you flashes this year. It really kind of came on. Rashawn Gary, Nalia, then Ladarius Hamilton's been cut. Trying to go through this. Kobe Jones might be a guy on the outside looking in. I mean, you could probably go through and pick 4 or 5 guys now that you believe not going to be with this team, right? And then the last 3 you might have to scratch your head on.
Well, it's interesting because they've already cut 3 corners with Ento, Keandre Thomas, and Rico Gafford,
right?
Making you think they might use those spots on the extra O-lineman.
Right.
Where if maybe Caleb Jones and Rasheed Walker end up making the roster, and then they go a little more thin on the defensive side.
Yeah. Yeah, with Ennis Gaines being cut, I got to think Abernathy has made the team. I could be wrong, or maybe they keep him and try to float him to the practice squad. But, man, I love the way he played. He flew around to the football. And that was one of the discussions Mike Clemens and I had about Abernathy, was that him along with a couple of the guys kind of locked in and really kind of upped their game just to prove that they belong there. So, because you're not deep at safety, at the safety position. And then obviously, Eric Stokes is here. Russell Douglas is here. Shamar Jean Charles, a 5th-round draft choice, with KB and Ento being cut. Shamar Jean Charles with that 5th-round draft choice, you would assume he's now making the team. Who's the other one? Kason Nixon? I don't think he makes it, but I could be wrong. Because Kason Nixon, remember, was a guy that Bisaccia liked for special teams. So do they keep him in that secondary as a more high-end special teams guy? It's going to be interesting. There's what we believe to be 8 guys left to move.
7 now, actually,
7 guys.
With Manet being cut.
With Manet. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Michael Manet, the backup center, he's now been cut. Because Jake Hansen can fill in as a backup center. So I figured that the versatility of Jake Hansen made Manet expendable. 877-867-1670. So anyway, it's all going on. It's very fluid as we speak right now. When we come back, you're going to hear from Robert Tanya, and also bottom of the hour, you're going to hear from Brad Keselowski, NASCAR driver. Just a couple of minutes, nothing real long or in depth, but just a shout out. Nice day yesterday as he appeared, before the veterans and all of those supporting Fisher House, Wisconsin, which I thought was pretty cool. So you're going to hear all that coming up too. Stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Water Doctors. Speaking of great people, John Atlee and the gang at the Water Doctors, they were there yesterday as well. And they came and put their money where their mouth was. And John and his staff always do such a great job. Dr. Bob Richter was there also. I love seeing him yesterday. And I know he had a little bit of a health concern, but they've got 40 years now in business. They do 40 years. And that means they're doing something right? On North Grandview Avenue out in Waukesha, but they travel all over. Put in the Connecticut water softening system. Go to H2 the letter O doctors.com. H2 the letter O doctors.com or call John 262-549-7733. Congratulate them on 40 years in business. And more so, the fact that they do a lot of charitable stuff for veterans, for the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy, and they make a lot of donations, and they did it again yesterday at the Fisher House, Wisconsin golf outing. So great people. I can't say enough about them. Again, give the Water Doctors in Waukesha a call, 262-549-7733. And oh, by the way, the Connecticut water softening system, the absolute best out there. Whatever anybody else tells you, tell them you're full of crap and head over to the Water Doctors, because I'm here to tell you I've had 3 different systems, and by far, the Water Doctors and the Connecticut water softening system, the best. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The days are getting shorter, but the racing continues at Road America through the middle of September. For all the information, go to roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hey, our friends at the Four Seasons Island Resort say, do not forget. Don't forget about them. They still have golf packages, stay and play packages. The UTV, the ATV trails are still open, obviously. No snow has fallen yet, so you don't have to worry about that. And they're booking. booking like crazy. So, and by the way, still, the Bill Michaels 15 is in play, my friends, in case you did not know. That's right. You get a hold of our girl, Barb, at the4seasonswisconsin.com. The4, the4seasonswisconsin.com. And get a hold of our girl, Barb, B-A-R-B, at the4seasonswisconsin.com. Tell her what you need, what you're looking for, and they'll give you the Bill Michaels 15. You better believe it. Or you can call direct, 715-324-5800, 715-324-5800. But you can do so much up there. You can golf on the 9-hole executive course. You can take a pontoon ride. You can kayak. You can do the UTVs, the ATVs. You can hike. You can bike. You can swim in the indoor pool. Really good meals inside the diamond room. A lot of fun and goofiness down in the Boundary Waters Bar and Grill. You've got a lounge upstairs, do a little bit of a wine tasting, cheese tasting, all that kind of good stuff. And by the way, you never have to leave the island if you don't want to. It's just an all-inclusive. It's great. A couple of days up there. Man, you talk about recharging the batteries, and it looks beautiful in the Northwoods. Again, go to the4seasonswisconsin.com. That's the4seasonswisconsin.com. Or call them direct. Call them direct, 715-324-5800, 715-324-5800. Get a hold of them. Great stuff at our friends at the Four Seasons WI, Wisconsin. There you go. Robert Tonyan, a couple of things. Robert Tonyan talked about kind of how right now, coming back from injury, he is trending in the right direction. Take a listen.
That's kind of where I'm at, is just day by day, get better and better. I feel better every day, and sometimes I surprise myself some days. So I'm just going to keep continuing to build on that and just kind of get that groove going.
And then when you talk about the young guys, a lot of the young guys, now, don't get me wrong, the competition at tight end is not deep. You don't have this standout Gronk-esque type of tight end. But you do have some young guys that came in and handled the competition, and he talks about the guys that worked hard throughout the preseason and the camp.
Not a lot of guys kind of were making mistakes and stuff like that. I think everyone was just operating so well that I think that even if they don't make the team, they're going to have a great chance elsewhere. And that's just kind of what you got to remind those young guys, that if you don't make this team, it doesn't stop here. There's 31 other teams who have been watching and who are going to give you a chance.
Now, he's been giving a lot of the young players advice, whether he's been there in practice or standing on the sidelines or going through rehab, whatever. So what has he been telling a lot of these young guys when it comes to advice to either make the squad or be a big help to this team?
I mean, just staying positive in the locker room in general with all these guys, and just, you don't know who they're going to keep on the team, so you want to keep it all positive. You want to keep all those people reassured that they're doing well and just want them to get better. So if they do end up on the team, then they're helping us win a Super Bowl.
And then as far as Robert Tonyan goes, he said, look, getting more contact in practice right now, more pads, thudding, hitting, that kind of thing. He said, look, all of this really good I need this right now getting ready for the regular season.
Just more and more every day, feeling it it's kind of nice. And honestly, I just kind of like implement it more and more day to day. Just I feel better every day, surprise myself all the time. So just continuing to make those strides, and then, implementing contact is like the biggest thing right now.
So there you go. Robert Tonyan getting ready for the regular season. Counting on him big time. Counting on him. Hopefully he can come back. And boy, I tell you what, I know that the loss of Devontae Adams is huge. You're not going to replace that. But if you get Tonyan back and his ability to get 10, 15, 20 yards downfield, specifically in the red zone, that's huge. He becomes a mismatched target because of his speed, his ability. That's huge. So I know they're really, really depending on him. And he quickly became a favorite target of Aaron Rodgers. And a likable guy for Aaron Rodgers. So, man, if he can become what he was, that's huge for the Packers. Meanwhile, the wide receiver, the rookie, Samori Toure, obviously you're playing the waiting game right now. The 53-man roster, we know it's set today, 3 p.m. Central Time. So now you got to sit back and you got to wait. He talks about it.
I feel like this is probably going to be the hardest part, just the hours from right now until tomorrow, just because it's not like you can do a lot to distract yourself. So, but, it is what it is. It's part of the game.
So we all know he was on the bubble coming into camp. whether or not he make this squad. So when you start to wait, because after practice yesterday, they say go home and we'll come back. Well, we'll see you here in the facility, and you're kind of waiting to find out if coach is going to say, hey, bring the Microsoft Surface Pro or whatever it is they're using now, bring the pad and come on up and see me. So what are you going to be doing today?
I'm going to be in my hotel room, chilling, waiting by the phone, I guess. Maybe watch some movies or play video games to distract me, but just wait on a call.
And then the question is, has he reached out to any of the veterans, we'll say, for advice on how to handle this specific situation?
I've talked to a lot of players about just getting kind of details on the process, and I've talked to guys who have gotten cut before, signed with different teams. So I've gotten some good pointers just from a lot of different people.
Hang in there. That's all guys are going to tell you. Hang in there.
Disappointed in the journalism, Bill.
Why is that?
They didn't ask him about Nebraska choking away a game in Ireland.
Oh,
his Cornhuskers.
Didn't even think to go that far. Maybe it's just because he could just look at him and say, either one, don't ask me about it, or two, it's normal.
Oh, he lived it.
Oh, my God. Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, you are correct. This is from our buddy Will. Will says, this is the way the season is going to play out. The NFC East, he says the Eagles are going to win it. The Cowboys are going to be a wild card. Commanders and Giants are out. The NFC North, the Vikings are going to win it. Packers are going to get a wild card. Lions and Bears then follow, and both out of the postseason. But the Lions above the Bears because the Bears stink. NFC South, Buccaneers are going to win it. Saints, Panthers, Falcons, all out of the postseason. NFC West, Rams are going to win it. Cardinals are going to be the wild card. 49ers and Seahawks are out. 49ers lose by a game. And then he says the champion of the NFC most likely is going to be the Buccaneers or the Rams. And he said those are going to be the Super Bowl representatives. That's from Will. Well, you're a little optimistic there on the Vikings, aren't you? Although the Vikings are starting to get tread. They got some flex going on right now. A lot of people starting to look over that fence and say, you know what? The Vikings have some weapons. They're not the, again, I go back to the fact that the Vikings, you got a new head coach in Kevin O'Connell. Okay. New young guy. By the way, the defensive coordinator, Ed Donatel, we're familiar with that name right here in Wisconsin, obviously the former Packers coordinator. But go back to it. You got Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. You've got KJ Osborne. They've upgraded their offensive line. Their right guard, Ed Ingram. They bring him in. Still have Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison. They've got some weapons offensively as long as that offensive line can hold up. And Kirk Cousins played pretty much all season the way he played for the first 9, 10, 11 games of the season last year. They're going to be a team to be dealt with. And then, then they feel like they've upgraded their defense. They added Evans over at the corner position. Lewis Sign, he takes over at the free safety. I don't know if he's going to be a starter, but certainly in that depth, they've got some guys they've added. Shannon Sullivan they brought in to be that nickel back over there. Don't forget, from the Green Bay Packers. They've added some guys. They still have Eric Hendricks, Donnell Hunter, who is back and feeling healthy. Za'Darius Smith, who they added as well in the offseason. They feel like if everybody stays healthy, they're going to be ready to roll. And with new energy, new voice, little pep in the step, guys with some new opportunities, they feel like they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. So people are starting to look over that fence and say, you know what? It might be the Minnesota Vikings year if indeed the Packers should stub their toes. I'm not going to say the Packers are going to win the division easy. I still think the Packers win the division. Until somebody knocks them off, it's Aaron Rodgers' division to lose. But if there's going to be a team that's going to challenge them for the top spot, I agree. It's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. But I have the Packers winning the division, not the Vikings. Stepping away, taking a quick break, getting you caught up on what's going around the rest of the NFL. When we come back, stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
If you're in or near Humbird, Wisconsin, check out a family success story with a good old-fashioned farm store. Go to ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzeFamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Opportunities elsewhere. But those are the headlines. You also have Byron Jones in Miami being put on the PUP list, cornerback. Those are the big headlines, and Kenyon Drake signing with the Ravens.
Interesting news out of Chicago. The rivalry between the Packers and the Bears has gone on for a long time. We all know that. But Dick Butkus. Now remember, Luke Butkus is on the Packers coaching staff. He's the offensive line coach. Dick Butkus, the legendary Bears linebacker, who was an 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro selection, takes a little bit of a jab at Aaron Rodgers and the wide receiving corps with the start of the season just a couple of weeks away. He says, quote, "Boy, I hope Aaron Rodgers has figured out how to throw passes to himself." Excuse me. Because if not, Packers games are going to look a whole lot like playing fetch with my dog. Missing you, Lucy. His dog was Lucy. But Dick Butkus saying that, yeah, the Packers and Rodgers and that offensive unit, the weaponry, if you will, not good. Not that that's a big deal, but it is what it is. Yes, go ahead.
Do you follow him on Twitter?
I don't.
Oh, it is rather entertaining.
Is it? Maybe I'll have to.
He unloads on people.
I am now.
Talks a lot of smack.
I am now. That was his second to last tweet. Oh, no, that was his latest tweet, as a matter of fact. I just saw that. That is his latest tweet. There you go. What else do we have here for you? This is from Ann. Ann says, I think the Packers are going to win the division. However, I don't think they have enough in the tank to win it all. Thoughts? Well, Ann, I mean, it's all speculation. I don't know if you're looking for me to go, oh, no, they're going to. A lot of times when we get questions that say, hey, I don't think the Packers can do it. Do you? And, I always say, well, first of all, on paper, there's a lot of people that think a lot of teams can win. But if you have to go through the hierarchy right now of who you believe is going to win in the National Football League, specifically in the NFC, I think the Packers have as good a shot as anybody. Now, are they as strong as some of the other teams out there? I think that defensively speaking, they got it. I think offensively, it's not going to be as big a drop-off as we've seen. Special teams are going to be a question until we see the improvement. But then again, like we've said, it can't be any worse, right? So that's part of it. But no, I think they can compete with anybody, especially if this defense creates turnovers and keeps giving the ball back to the offense and gives them more bites at the apple. I really do. I don't think the only time that I think this team is going to struggle is late in ball games, 2-minute series and such. Without Devonta Adams to suck up a double team or even a triple team that allows guys to get open and has that go-to reliable hands, I think that everybody's going to have to go out and prove themselves. By that, I mean you're going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage, and guys are going to have to prove that they're capable of doing it until somebody breaks free and begins to dictate the defense. Because right now, if you're a defensive coordinator, Ben, if you're a defensive coordinator going against the Packers, what guy are you focusing on the most?
Out of the wide receiver room or on the offense as a whole?
Well, let's just say the offense as a whole.
Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is the obvious answer, but I'm focusing on the running backs. Aaron Jones, when he's in the game, whether he's carrying it or receiving it out of the backfield, I'm focusing on them, but that's more of a first level kind of deal. But then second level, I think it's Lazard at this point.
Right. See, I think, take Aaron Rodgers out of the mix. If Aaron Rodgers drops back to throw, who is the number one focus of a defense? Who do you absolutely have to take out of the mix? Probably Allen Lazard, just by maybe default. After that, I think the guy that is at least flashed is Dobbs. He would be the next guy. You got to, obviously everybody always says you got to stop the run, but if you get past Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon, like I said, you don't have a true number one, but I think you've got enough. If you got Lazard, Dobbs, and Watkins on the field, and then Robert Tonyan, you've got some options. It's not that your defense has to focus on one guy. They have to be able to cover all guys. Because I don't think Rodgers is going to the line of scrimmage and just simply looking for a mismatch. I think it's going to be a little while, which is why I think this offense might be a little bit of a work in progress until he realizes who can and can't get consistently open. Dubs has been the guy that's proven he can get open. Whether or not he's got the sure hands, we'll wait and see. Alan Lazard is an incredible route. I shouldn't say incredible. He's a crisp route runner, but he doesn't have Devontae Adams' capability to get constant separation. So then are you Aaron Jones out of the backfield, Robert Tonyan over the middle, because that would be somewhat of a mismatch. So that's what I think. I don't think I don't think it's going to be one guy is going to separate himself. I think that it's just simply going to be whoever happens to get open, how quickly Rodgers deciphers that and gets rid of the football. Because I think it's going to be spread around. I think it's not I hate to say it. I don't want to say that it's a mismatch every game, but there's going to be somebody that can shine against the guy that's across from him. It doesn't have to be a guy like Devontae Adams who just beat everybody that you go to all the time. But eventually somebody will emerge. 877-867-1670, agree or disagree. But that's a very simple, simplistic, idiotic maybe way of looking at it. I don't look at the Packers as this, you've got to defend the number one. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a lot of these guys can just get open. They can do things. So it's just, whose day is it? One day it'll be Tonyan over the middle. The next day it'll be, Sammy Watkins in veteran moves. The next day it'll be Randall Cobb with a couple of receptions in the slot, which opens things up on the outside. And suddenly Dobbs or Alan Lazard get their fair share. I just, Christian Watson starts to come on. I just think it's going to be this collective society of guys that become the weapons for Aaron Rodgers. And each guy has the ability to shine. And each guy on a week in and week out basis also has the ability to be completely lost in the offense just for the fact that they're being asked to do different things while somebody else gets their opportunity to shine, which for a team in wins and losses might be a great thing. If you got them in fantasy, it might be terrible until things really develop. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break, finalize the program. That's all coming up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
I give that a 2.99.
Okay. Hey, Dad.
What's wrong?
That woman over there. Don't look.
What did she do?
She judged my dive. Gave it a 2.99. Isn't that weird?
Hey, that's Gina Della from Pella. I'm going to find out what this is all about. Excuse me. Why are you judging my daughter's diving? I know who you are.
I'm sorry? Judging?
Yeah, she said you yelled out.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about her. I was finalizing this month's special at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's funny.
What's special?
Pay only 2.99% interest for 10 years.
On new Pella windows. Really? 10 years?
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer. You can't get a deal on installing new windows during the warmest season.
You can at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Oh, 2.99.
Dad?
Oh, not you, sweetheart. The deal at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. 2.99% for 10 years.
Visit PellaWI.com.
Approved credit.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers had practice yesterday. Rookie defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt, taken at the end of the first round out of Georgia, was getting chewed out by Jerry Montgomery, who's been coaching the defensive line the past 7 years in Green Bay. Kenny Clark was asked on when players can expect to get yelled at, even in front of their teammates.
I mean, if you do something that's like unacceptable, you know what that is. And if you do something where, like technique-wise, where something that you can correct, just finding that fine line between all those things. But really, just like what we want him to keep doing is just keep, playing with effort, keep playing fast, don't slow down, because you don't want to lose the twitch and the quickness that he plays with. He plays with great quickness when he does do all the stuff right. So you don't want to lose that type of stuff. So I tell him to keep doing what he's doing, keep playing with the effort that he play with, play fast, and take the coaching, take the stuff that the older guys are telling him. Just keep on improving on it. Love the process.
Wide receiver Alan Lazard sat out the session. So did Mercedes Lewis. Robert Tonyan able to get some reps in at tight end in the team drills, coming back from that torn ACL. Now, the Packers are releasing players to get down to 53. Tonyan was asked how players should carry themselves on a day where as many as 25 teammates are being let go.
I mean, just staying positive in the locker room in general with all these guys, and just you don't know who they're going to keep on the team, so you want to keep it all positive. You want to keep all those people reassured that they're doing well and just want them to get better. So if they do end up on the team, then they're helping us win a Super Bowl.
That's Packers tight end Robert Tonyan in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Get registered. I'm pushing it hard. You're going to get sick of it by the end of the week, but we cannot do this without you. Please join us coming up on Sunday, September 4th. This coming Sunday, the motorcycle ride benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin, starting down at MKE Brewing. Yes, it's still going. Yes, we're going to be there. Yes, they're going to be open. We can't do it without you. Please, please, please. If you haven't done it already, get pre-registered and come down on Sunday, and we're going to see you there. Going to see you there on Sunday. Going to be covered, on the morning news on Fox 6. They're going to be there along with others, and we're so looking forward to it. Again, it's the Big Unit Poker Run coming up this Sunday. Go to FisherHouseWI.org and the events page. FisherHouseWI.org. Click on the events page. You're going to find it right there. Get registered. Follow all the information. If you want to just follow us, follow Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. And we'll see you down there come Sunday. So here's something, and I'm not a big fan of this, but Mac Daddy said the Chiefs got rid of their veteran wide receiver, Josh Gordon. How about picking him up as another veteran with really good speed? Josh Gordon, first of all, he has had 3 full seasons suspended. Okay, not that I'm going to hold that completely against him, but this year in camp, he really never got it going. He was down on the depth chart. And while he's always had good speed, but he's 31 years old now. And it's been 2013 or 14 is when he racked up all his yardage. I don't necessarily go in that direction. I'm not jumping into Josh Gordon's fan camp, so to speak. And besides, who you gonna cut? Look at it that way. Christian Watson, Dubs. Those guys are going to be here. Samari Torrey, most likely. Amari Rogers, Randall Cobb. Now, you do ask yourself, what would change if Aaron Rodgers wasn't here? There would be certain guys like Mercedes Lewis and Randall Cobb and such you would kind of figure they wouldn't be with this team. But I'm not, running after Josh Gordon. No. To answer your question, no, I'm not interested in him. I mean, even after losing Tyreek Hill, and needing speed and needing a good wide receiver, he still couldn't make that squad down there in Kansas City. Much like the Green Bay Packers, they went out and found other wide receivers, but much like the Green Bay Packers losing Devontae Adams, I don't think he's going to make this squad. Ben, would you go after Josh Gordon? I don't think I would.
No. The only receiver I would entertain would be a guy like Tyler Johnson, because he's young. Yeah. I think he's better than whoever's at the end, Toure or Amari Rogers.
Right. I don't think that's happening. I'm not going in that direction. 877-867-1670. And like I said, he was cut earlier, and that was the question. But in the Eagles making a trade today, the Steelers get the outside linebacker, Malik Reed from the Denver Broncos today. So that was announced a little while ago. We kind of ran through that a little bit. And we'll say, cut down day news, but Calvin Ridley, the Falcons wide receiver, apparently he was part of a burglary ring or what have you. Did you read this? That there's an indictment of targeting members of what was said to be a violent street gang. They were targeting the Atlanta area homes of famous athletes and famous celebrities. Calvin Ridley, singer Mariah Carey, Atlanta United goalkeeper Brad Guzan, Marlo Hampton of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, all had their homes broken into recently. And these street gangs were targeting all the rich and famous. So if you were any kind of celebrity in Atlanta, you were worried about your own safety. Carjacking, kidnapping, armed robbery, shootings, home invasions were all committed by the members of this drug-rich gang, which said began to emerge in 2016 in a neighboring county. And the celebrity targets, social media influencers were also victimized in home invasions, burglaries as well, beatings, assaults that took place. So how about that? But yeah, Calvin Ridley was named today, and not in the indictment as far as him doing anything wrong, but one of the guys that was being targeted in this thing. Man, scary stuff big time. That'll do it. By the time we get back at it tomorrow, we will know pretty much the roster and pretty much the practice squad of the Green Bay Packers. We'll be able to break it down. Mike Renner tomorrow from Pro Football Focus going to be joining us. We'll talk with him, look at the roster, and what his thoughts are as far as the Green Bay Packers efforting into the 2022-2023 season. So that'll be coming up. Time for us to get out of here. Until then, hopefully you enjoy your day. We'll be back at it in about 20 hours. Hey, don't forget, get registered for the motorcycle ride if you haven't already. Go to FisherHouseWI.org and the events page. Can't wait to see you come Sunday. Time for us to go. Have a go. Woo!